Good afternoon, my fellow Americans. Welcome to the stream. Today, we are going to try to keep things less heavy than we have in the past. Not sure why this camera angle is the way that it was, but anyway, we are going to do our best to cover Project 2025, the need for improved messaging, and we're also going to cover the current events that are happening today. Happy Monday, Oshun. As you can see, we got Project 2025, right-wing extremism in the EU, and Biden to be forced down. And then, of course, AoE 2. I will say I've been playing a lot more team games on Age of Empires, just to kind of build my confidence. I've been getting my butt kicked 1v1, and it's just a struggle to get used to playing again. My style of play is... Let's just build a big, scary, beefy base for 40 minutes and then murder each other. Let's see who can handle that, right? But that's just not at all how most people play. There's a lot of rush and everything else. Ruben Faras, happy Tuesday. Let me double check. Okay. It's already Tuesday for you. Okay, well, shouldn't you be asleep? No, I appreciate you being here. But yeah. So, I guess we can get right into it. The videos that we have ready to go focus mostly on Joe Biden. And that, even though this is a couple days ago, that they are really wanting him to go.
From Joe Biden's concerning debate performance, talk in many top Democratic circles has already moved to who Kamala Harris would choose as a running mate.
You watch soccer.
That's
Fair
how
enough.
certain a widening group of leading party officials, operatives, and donors are that the president's slow start to salvage his campaign just isn't working. Harris's office updating her schedule yesterday to have her appear with the president for the 4th of July.
Today, as we celebrate freedom, as we celebrate the promise of America, we also celebrate and express our gratitude to our service members, to our veterans, to our military families.
It is an important, and we're going to get to that as well. Don't worry. Because thankfully they didn't go to the far right.
President of the United States, Joe Biden.
CNN senior reporter Isaac Dover joins the panel. Isaac, you have new reporting about the vice president. What can you
we
tell
can
us?
skip that.
Look, Joe Biden
I mean, that's still post-debate rhetoric. Although, ironically, this is Bannon. Let's hear what this is going to be about, and then we'll get to the French. Why is that not increasing?
That could really make a run at President Trump. And about anybody they pick, I think if we do this transition right and make the process, President Trump will win, and I think could win big. But I would think a ticket with Michelle Obama, that also takes care of, obviously, the Kamala Harris situation. I think, to me, Michelle Obama would be the most competitive because it would go back to the nostalgia they have for the Obama administration.
Turns out Steve Bannon was right. And that's according to new polling that shows that while First Lady Michelle Obama has absolutely no interest in partisan politics or even running for president, she actually would be beating Donald Trump if she chose to run against him, and she would beat him by double digits. So yesterday, Reuters and Ipsos released its latest poll comparing a Trump and Biden matchup to a hypothetical with various replacements, okay? And so the poll surveyed about 892 registered voters, and it has a margin of error of 3.2%, which really doesn't matter because Michelle Obama very clearly beats Trump by such a wide margin here. So let's take a look at this graph so you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about here. So Biden and Trump are both tied at 40% each, according to this poll. Michelle Obama is the Democrat with the most support and the only Dem beating Trump 50% to Trump's 39%. And so all other hypothetical Democratic candidates performed similarly or worse than Biden against Trump.
The good news
but
is
I do want
Hillary
to kind of
warn
you about that. Michelle Obama, like Kamala Harris, they have way more name recognition than some of these other potential replacements
Just
to
true.
Biden.
Gavin Newsom is not very well known outside of
various
California.
governors who have been floated, whether it be Gretchen Whitmer or
Hello,
JD
from
Pritzker.
Plymouth.
I mean, the
And
second
yes,
one of
thank
them is
goodness.
chosen to be Biden's replacement, there will be wall-to-wall media coverage about them. And so I think the name recognition issue would certainly change the results of this poll. But I'm curious what you think, John. What are your thoughts on?
I think that pretty much covers that. We wanted to know who the names were that were being floated. And quite frankly, Michelle Obama, which we have been saying is the #1 pick to replace Biden. Obviously, she's not interested in the role, but maybe she will change her mind. I mean, how many people have ran for office after being nudged, right? Or how many of them are pretending to not be interested until they can develop enough interest to where people just go for them? And don't worry, yep, we are getting to that, Ruben. I just wanted to wrap up the 2025 Democrats. I think Michelle may very well end up replacing Joe Biden. I think there's a better chance than not, and this is the reason why. I think there will be enough popular support for Michelle Obama that she will be urged and coaxed to run, and then her campaign will be, I am not a politician. I am not choosing to run for my own good, but because I've been called upon to serve, like my husband before me. And if she runs on that platform, it's a wash. Now, that being said,
an iconic classic that defined the survival horror.
Skip.
Now for
Holy
something
Christ.
a little different, and from inside the White House.
I don't know what it is with this, but like, either I have a really crappy internet connection,
to distance himself
or this software is straight
Heritage
garbage.
Foundation's far-right blueprint for a possible second.
Oh, I thought that. Hold on, I clicked the wrong thing here. We're gonna get into that in a second. The Trump administration distancing themselves. Now, let's see. French election. And people have had enough time to forget everything they disliked about Obama. But then again, Michelle was not Obama. And that's the thing. Michelle was a very good first lady. And that's what people fail to recognize. French election result. Let's do Bloomberg. I don't know. Is this conservative?
This hasn't happened in the Fifth Republic. So since 1958, this is the first time no one is getting an absolute majority in the National Assembly. We have a hung parliament scenario. Just a few days ago, we were thinking this is going to be an outright majority for the National Rally. And in fact, it was a huge disappointment for Marine Le Pen. They only get 140 seats, which is much lower than what we expected. Instead, the left wing coming first, and then second, also Macron's party actually did much better than expected.
So, there's the French. The National Rally and Allies, I would imagine, is the alt-right, because I know they came in third. But the left is actually winning in France, which is good. That is very good, is that the left is winning. The centrists are, I guess, center, but the neoliberal cause is definitely getting a rude awakening. And I hope that is one of the reasons why the alt-right movement is growing, is because of dissatisfaction with neoliberalism. Obviously, I don't want to support the alt-right, but I'm saying I think that is contributing to neoliberalism, right? The way that we have our government and our societies are neoliberal, right? Globalization, pro-capitalism, pro-business, pro. Meanwhile, all of our public goods, services, and access to things are getting eroded left, right, and center. Now, you would think that's a right-wing wet dream, but that's actually neoliberal policy. By not investing in public services and utilities and all this, that, and the other, and saying that the private sector can resolve our public needs, that's neoliberalism. Conservatism is private sector as well as hierarchical forces will determine what the public has in terms of needs. Slight difference, or not much. It's a very large difference, but the point is, the nuance is neoliberalism thinks that the private sector can help the public sector, whereas the alt-right just wants to dominate everything and give free control to the private sector. Not really him since he was a child, it was his stepfather. Same, I wouldn't vote for her either. Yeah, spent his childhood in my country of Indonesia, and Obama wrote as a Muslim an identity card. But why Obama chose to live as a Muslim and his religion when he lived in Indonesia? I mean, I would have to corroborate that. That sounds like propaganda. But oh my God, he's stupid. Was Obama a Muslim in Indonesia during his childhood? He was registered as a Muslim. Cool. Based on his stepfather's faith. All students, no matter what their religion, attended Christian services. Sometime in the 3rd grade, Obama's mother moved upmarket to Mentang. So, you're correct, Ruben. I didn't know that. Again, I never really paid any credence to the whole Obama, Hussein, all the Islamophobia nonsense. But, as it turns out, that one was in fact the case. But again, it's not choosing as being a Muslim if he's a child, right? Children cannot choose to be a part of a religion. They are told to be a part of a religion because they grow up near a religion and it is part of the community to participate in said religion. I was baptized as an infant. Did I have a choice? No. Most people in America are baptized as infants. Do they have a choice? No. Right? So to say that children are a certain faith is kind of, I don't stand by that in the slightest.
So clearly, this is unprecedented. We're entering uncharted territory, and Macron will have to see whether he can actually form a wide coalition. You heard the far-left leader, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, saying he was ready to govern, ready to implement the entire program, but that obviously remains to be seen because even the left doesn't have the majority.
Yeah, the firebrand of Mélenchon was on full yesterday with that speech, but as you say, saying he's not going to make any compromises. So whether or not
Hold on. What? Oh, crap. French election results. Which parties are which alignment? Oh, because it's coalition governments. Okay. So no party got an absolute majority, which that tracks. And of course, this is the New York Post. The left-wing alliance in France is the new Popular Front. Isn't that literally what we just saw, though? So yeah, they do have a majority. Not a super majority, but a majority. Yeah, well, the way they said that they didn't even have the majority, that's not true. New Popular Front does have the majority. And according to the internet, the New Popular Front is center-left and left-wing parties ranging from the Socialists to the Greens, the Communists, and the radical left France Unbowed. Great. Mélenchon is the leader of the majority. But hey, I think it's better that there are 3 parties in France, or 3 major coalitions in the French government or parliament, I guess, because that means they're going to have to work together in order to get stuff done. Whereas in our country, the Democrats or the Republicans, whoever is the majority, the minority version can literally undermine everything the majority does, unless the majority chooses to do nuclear options, which is 50% plus 1. And so I would argue that this is probably the best possible result for France. Obviously, we could have a left-wing utopia all throughout Europe and sing Kumbaya, but if it means stymieing the alt-right, this is a very good solution to that. Let's see. They think he's old because he's 70? That's a spring chicken in the US. Yeah, no kidding. Considering our frontrunners are both in their 80s. There are no French flags in demonstration. I mean, I'm pretty sure the French will be rioting anytime now.
To implement the entire
they
program,
tend to riot whenever there's something to
and
riot
carve
about.
out some kind of majority to govern. You need to be above that 289 within the 577 seat National Assembly. So what are the next steps then, Caroline?
So there is no deadline for the President Emmanuel Macron to appoint the next Prime Minister. However, we have a few dates in front of us. We have the Paris Olympics, that's coming in just a couple of weeks. We also have on July 18 the next National Assembly with all these MPs elected last night reconvening for the first time. So if Gabriel Attal, for example, stayed in place until then, he could potentially then face a vote of no confidence. Now, Macron will probably over the next few days try and look towards the center left, but that's assuming that the union of the left explodes and the far left is sidelined, because the far left only gets about 75 seats within this union of the left. So there was actually an interesting poll last night saying that moderate left and Macron together, that's about 300 seats, and that's about a majority.
Tough job.
That was a little bit hard to follow. Her accent was very strong for me. But I'm also not familiar with French politics. Future president of America. American flag, right? That being said, it sounds like the left, the bloc of the left, is in a majority. It's just, again, the age-old question, can leftists find a way to work together? Can the left find a way to work together? Right? Because the far left, just like the far right, wants their thing, and the further left they go, the happier their followers are, their supporters are. And if you don't go far left enough, you're going to lose that support. Whereas everybody else is like, we just want to govern with, making sure that there's publicly funded services and commodities and all that fun stuff. So that should be interesting. You need to love your country, whether you're right or left. Yes, you should. But unfortunately, zealotry is often misconstrued as love of your country because, again, many on the alt-right would consider themselves patriots, and yet the very thing that they fight for, like Project 2025, would undermine and dismantle everything this country currently stands for. What they want is a country in their image, not the country that exists. I think it's weird to constantly be waving your flag in your country for no reason. You can love your country without constantly waving your flag. True, and that was the case in Germany up until apparently a couple of years ago, which is, terrifying.
Jobs need tougher tools. The Hercules 20-volt brushless platform from Harbor Freight.
France election
results.
It's
a huge surprise in the runoff of these French legislative elections.
They're talking
the
about
podium
gridlock now.
Is the exact opposite of what we had expected. Coming first, the Union of the Left, the New Popular Front, with about 180 seats, including just 75 for the far left LFI party.
Yeah, but that's
the
still
Mélenchon
a lot
leader
of
the far left said he was ready to govern and that he would implement the very costly program, the entire program of the far left. But it's not going to be that easy because no one has the majority. The second group in the National Assembly will actually be Macron's party, who did much better than expected. And coming third, huge disappointment for the far right of Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella, with around 140 seats, when just a few days ago we were actually saying that there was a possibility of an outright majority for the far right. In the short term,
why did she phrase it like that? Unfortunately for the alt-right, they only got 140 seats. Like, was she hoping that they would get a majority? Like, that's not good news. When was the last French dictatorship? King Louis XVI? I think at around 1789, the French monarchy collapsed with the aid of a certain specific tool where many famous quotes were uttered that day or that year, such as "Let them eat cake" and "Liberté, vive la révolution." I'm just saying, France and being alt-right is not a good mix, so it's actually a good thing. I just don't know why she phrased it like that.
The current Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal, will resign. Emmanuel Macron, the President, will have to name a new Prime Minister. It's unclear when this will happen, given we have the Olympics happening in just a couple of weeks from now. But clearly the attention now focuses on the budget in the fall. That will be the moment of truth for whoever is the next French Prime Minister.
So, and on that note, she really sounded like she had some bias against the plan too. She's like, a very expensive plan that he wants to implement. It's like, here's the thing. What's more expensive? Having a country that ends up sabotaging all of the public works that your people have fought for decades and centuries, or funding the public programs and holding businesses accountable and actually taxing the wealthy to help finance those things. I don't understand the logic. Imagine 88% population in the United Arab Emirates are immigrants, but there are no movements which aliens want to take your country. I mean, nobody wants to change your country. I mean, the United Arab Emirates, I know even less about than I do about the EU or BRICS or any of those, but from what I understand, a lot of the Arabic countries are united in their at least desire to separate themselves from the West and not allow the West to continue to take advantage of them and basically run rampant all over their lands and their country. That's as much as I know. So it seems that for now, France is not going to tip over to the far right, which is great. That's fantastic news. What we're not certain about is whether Germany can actually hold its own. Not sure what this is all about. That's clear. Biden. There is no way Joe Biden showed up on a Piers Morgan podcast. No way in hell. What else were we looking at? This is what we also needed to talk about. Is the fact that Project 2025 is so heinous and has been discussed in Congress, no less, even before it started really kicking up in the social media. Ayanna Pressley was actually grilling one of the writers for the 2025 project manifesto, and that chud was basically smiling and laughing to himself like, yes, we do want this racist propaganda to be shoved down the throats of everyone, and they have no remorse whatsoever. We will watch that as well. But the far right, they get 40 more seats than they did in 2022. Okay, so they're growing in France, but they haven't taken over yet. Well, that's kind of the problem, right? It's usually a pendulum swing, as I love to say. Just like it didn't happen overnight for our country, it happened slowly over time with the Tea Party. The Tea Party primaried every single Republican at every single level until they started winning seats. And again, if leftists would do the same thing by primarying Democrats at every single level for every single seat, we would start winning. But again, we don't have a united front. The Tea Party did. So let's hear about Trump distancing himself.
Trump claimed to know nothing about the group's plan and criticized that plan, he knows nothing about. This sudden distancing comes just days after the president of the Heritage Foundation said this in the wake of the Supreme Court's immunity ruling.
The left has taken over our institutions. The reason that they are apoplectic right now, the reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
I remember that quote. I remember seeing an article about that. The fact that this man just said that with such a straight face and basically threatened the entire country with a bloody civil war if the left stands down as it has, which it's not even that the left is standing down. The left is just not organized enough to fight against this, which is part of what I've been saying this entire time. I'm working on improving my messaging. As I have said, we need to improve our messaging regardless. But my content also needs to... well done, well played. My content must also evolve with the times. And quite frankly, if all we do is like, share, and post things on the internet instead of organizing and communicating with one another and pooling our resources, I mean, Project 2025 is going to come to fruition, whether or not Trump agrees with it, because he will have no choice but to capitulate. Because, okay, here's the thing about power structures. There's the thing about power structures. Jesus H. Christ. Where? Are you serious right now? Can we please move? Okay. So somehow my thing just decided to break. That is outstanding. Where? My God. Guys, I'm about to not use XSplit, and we're just going to have to listen to the damn AC unit. This is infuriating. Now I have to reorganize all of my freaking sources because this wants to not go to the right spots. What the hell is this shit? Oh my God, guys, I am so sick of this software being absolute garbage. I can't even begin to relate how absolutely garbage XSplit is as a streaming software. It does one thing well, and that is it edits out noise. It does that pretty well. Everything else, it does terribly. Literally everything else is absolute hot garbage. So, do with that information what you will. And now it's not letting me... Why? Why does this keep breaking? I don't understand this. This needs to be moved. Why are you not fucking... Okay, now we're just going to start deleting scenes because this is pissing me off. Seriously? I can't even stream right now because this thing is just... Hello? I need you to interact. Now I'm frozen. I swear to God. I swear to God. Can somebody please put Thoth on there for technology being absolute garbage? Does not approve. I don't know. I have an $8,000 computer that's supposed to be a 3D rendering machine, and I can't even use a crappy broadcasting software without severe issues. I don't understand that. I don't understand that one iota.
There's a new class of blockbuster drugs. Drugs like Ozempic. They're changing bodies, and all of a sudden, just the weight starts.
And now I'm deleting scenes and they don't actually go anywhere. One of the main reasons for border problems is cartels who sell their items to the United States. Yes, you're right. And because drugs are illegal in America, instead of being treated as a healthcare situation, they're treated as a criminal situation, which empowers cartels to be active in our country. All right. Jesus fucking Christ. One of these days, we'll actually have a smooth stream where I can just go through everything without a problem happening. And the software will work. We won't lose connection. It'll just be a smooth sailing stream. It's not today, but it will hopefully be sometime soon. Now then, as I was trying to say, actually, I don't even remember where I was at with all this. Ah, that's right, Donald Trump. Of course, I had to delete that scene because it got frozen on the scene. We were talking about Project 2025 and how that sociopath, which now I'm going to have to find that stupid video again. I'm not sure where it is.
Donald Trump.
There we go.
You're unbelievable.
Officially trying to.
I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, as much as I like conspiracy theories, right? Like about aliens and stuff. But when it comes to the political conspiracy theories, I'm not a big one. I'm really not. But I do find it really damn questionable that I'm having so many technical difficulties when I stream about real issues like Project 2025, like the alt-right taking over in Europe, and it seemingly other creators don't have these issues, and they're using the same exact software. So, not sure what that's all about, but it is infuriating. Now, this ass clown threatened the entire country, saying it will be a bloodless civil war so long as the left continues to stay out of it, essentially. Continues to not fight back. And what I was trying to say was that the left is simply not organized to begin with. That we don't have resources to pool together. That we don't have coalitions that unite us. We don't have infrastructure to unite us. We don't have anything to unite us, because we're islands of power unto ourselves, focusing on individual policy issues rather than the overall message and theme of our country. And because of that, we are fragmented and divided, and we do not work well together. And I say we broadly. And I say that because you look at our revolutions, the brand new Congress, the Black Lives Matter, the Green Party, you look at the environmental there's a different environmental group for every season and phase of the moon, it seems. And then you have your animal environmentalists, right? Save the whales, save the dolphins, save the bugs, save the coyotes, save the eagles, and all this other crap, right? All these other things. Clean energy technology, clean energy initiatives, and then we're arguing about solar versus wind versus thermal versus nuclear versus thorium versus what else is there? I don't know, magnetism for the sake of argument. You have all these different coalitions, all these different policies that are even within the same block that don't work together. Now, obviously, I would love to be the guy that solves that problem. Would love to be. I know I don't have that money. I know I don't have those resources, nor do I have that pull. Hasanabi, with his 30,000 average viewers, doesn't have the pull. And quite frankly, neither does the president, as it turns out. And even Bernie Sanders, he would have to run again just to build a coalition around him. But then when he doesn't win or stops running for office again, all of it falls apart. So again, we don't have leaders in the left that is able to bring these coalitions together. And we are so used to bickering and fighting and arguing about the nuance of everything rather than focusing on the thing that combines us, the thing that unites us. And that is ultimately why we are losing a bloodless civil war against the Heritage Foundation and the alt-right. Now,
I'll be direct. With every day that passes, Donald Trump gets closer and closer to becoming the...
Don't care.
Donald Trump is officially...
I don't know
and of
her.
course,
It's like,
this
who is
isn't
she?
keeping the
What?
source.
I've never met her before. Also,
minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come
And
full
remember,
circle
they're
on this
treating it
response
as
and just
civil
want to
war. It's
encourage
our
you with
side
some
versus your
substance
side.
that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Frank Figluzzi and Jill Winebanks are back with us. Simone, Mariah carried them, right? I don't know her.
I don't know her. It's like, who is she? What? I've never met her before. Also, was Kevin Roberts talking about us when he said
Maybe.
the MSNBC anchors? Was he talking about us? I don't know. He's welcome back anytime to explain this debacle.
Nice. Look,
I'm going to play for you all Taraji P. Henson at the BET Awards. And after I play her, you're going to understand why.
time for us to play chess, not checkers. It's about making decisions that will affect us as human beings. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens. The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
It isn't a game. I'm surprised, though, that she didn't actually go into it. But then again, I guess her point and purpose was to drive the discussion, which is interesting because every post that I see about Project 2025 is look it up. But here's the thing. Most people don't know what to look for, and typing in Project 2025 in Google might not make sense to somebody, right? That might not be the clue. And even if you do Project 2025... Okay, so the first thing that shows up for me, at any rate, is the Presidential Transition Project. And now, because it has been so popularized, there is a bunch of articles and videos about it. So that's good. But the thing is, if your call to action is to Google it, it comes off pretentious. And as I have been saying repeatedly, as the left, we need to get off of our hoity-toity, holier-than-thou horses and stop talking down to people who would otherwise be our allies, to include other groups within the left. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. If I were to come to you, said, hi, my name is Secession. I'm a Twitch streamer and a YouTuber. I make content about current events through the lens of policy and being a candidate. I would love to work with you, but in order to work with you, I need you to read this, this, and this, and I need you to do this, this, and this research before we can work together. What do you think is the first initial response that I would receive if that's how I approached literally anybody? Probably a giant middle finger, right? A giant middle finger. Now, likewise, you're Hasanabi. You come to me. Hasanabi comes to me and says, Secession, I like where your head's at, brother. We need to do some sort of, what do you call that? Co-op stream? Sure. We need to do some sort of co-op stream. It's like, awesome. I'm in. Let's go. It's like, okay. But first, I need you to do all this research, and I need you to do all this studying. I need you to write this essay. And I'm going to be like, dude, what? Now, at that point, Hasanabi goes in the hierarchy. He's number one. Twitch streamer for politics on Twitch, right? I'm very, very low. Maybe not the lowest, but certainly not very high either. I have a choice now. Do I just capitulate so that I can maybe get up here, or do I tell them to F off and stay down here and try and work with my fellows? Do you see how this is counterproductive? Even if you have the resources, even if you have the power, the authority, the ability to invest in others, the ability to raise others around you, if you force them to put in work, they're going to resent you, for one. For two, yes, there is that whole, there needs to be a mutual respect and there needs to be a mutual understanding of what is going to be done. Sure. Hey, Secession, if you're going to come on my Hasanabi podcast, you're going to have to tone down your rhetoric a little bit, or you're going to need to tone up your rhetoric, all right? Just, you can't just be, my ideas on the policies are this, right? We need you to have a little bit of life. Cool. That's one thing. It's a completely another thing to say that I need to write a 3,000 word, MLA format, double-spaced with sources essay before you'll work with me. Vice versa, if you are in a small position, such as you want to save the whales and it's you and 3 of your friends, and you're like, well, I'm not going to work with you unless you do the research about this very specific niche whale that we're trying to save, you're never, going to grow. You're never going to get more volunteers, and you're going to alienate anybody who would otherwise work with you, such as the other Save the Whale groups. So, again, and I cannot emphasize this enough, even though I'm tilted because of this software, if we do not learn how to be adults and mature, responsible human beings and recognize that not everybody is as invested in our niche desire as you are, but we are all equally vested in a better tomorrow, we're going to get Project 2025. We're going to get the Heritage Foundation. We're going to get all of the scary dystopian nightmare talks that we've been worried about for decades. And it's going to happen this election cycle. So what do we do about it? First, talk to each other like human beings. Okay? If you wouldn't want somebody to lecture you and give you a homework assignment, why the hell would you give somebody else a lecture or a homework assignment? Do the research, Google it. No, you want me to work with you, tell me what it is you want me to do. I'm not going to, what's it called, audition to work with you, whether you're big, small, or otherwise, and vice versa. You're not going to audition to work for me either. So get that out of your head. We need to completely get rid of that mentality as a whole, because it is alienating, it is self-defeating, and I mean, look around you. If it was going to work, it would have worked. So let's go back to this clown. Now, the keybinds don't want to actually work. I don't know if this is actually worth listening to after that.
Henson
But we'll
hosted
see.
the BET Awards this year, and Frank, I was struck by this moment because I don't believe it was scripted in there. But Project 2025 is going beyond the political group chats, if you will. So much so that Donald Trump has moved to disavow it, even though Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation says he regularly speaks with Donald Trump about it, and it is all about infusing Trumpism. Talk just about well, first of all, I think Donald Trump is lying. We don't know for sure, but he has been prone to not tell the truth about conversations he has had and what he does and doesn't know. But it is this plan. It is not.
I'm actually inclined to agree. I'm not sure what her name is, this correspondent. I am inclined to agree that Trump realizes there's some major backlash with Project 2025. Plus, this is one of those things that you should keep hush-hush for as long as you possibly can, and then when it's revealed, you're supposed to downplay it. Simone Sanders. Okay. So Simone is correct. I think that Trump actually agrees with it, largely because Project 2025 pulls from his presidency greatly in its 992-page manifesto, but also because right now it is not politically expedient to push that agenda. If or when he wins the election, I think we will definitely see an about-face on that. And of course, his MAGA supporters are going to shift with him no matter what he says or does. And that's the other deal.
Hyperbole, right? People should take it seriously because it can be implemented. There's all this talk that, people are being hysterical, but this plan could potentially be implemented if...
That's not even correct. It's not that it could be implemented. It is currently being implemented. I don't know how else to phrase this. There are certain parts of Project 2025 that would require a president and a supermajority in Congress to push through. That is correct. There are parts that would be necessary for. But you already have a stacked Supreme Court, and they have already gutted federal agencies as a whole, right? They went after the EPA and the SEC specifically, but they've gutted federal agencies as a whole, with the Chevron doctrine being revoked, repealed, whatever the wordage is. Which means now the federal agencies cannot issue their own fines and ramifications against the bad actors. It has to go through the court system, which is also predominantly stacked in favor of conservatives and Republicans. Now, that being said, if for some reason, some strange miracle, Biden or the Democrats can pull off a victory and sweep elections down ballot, Project 2025 is dead in the water until it isn't. The thing is, Project 2025 is an outline of this is how you undermine the Constitution. This is how you rewrite the federal government. This is how you implement your ideology. This is a step-by-step, this is how you do it. Ironically, and again, I don't think I can be any more clear about this. If the left adopted the Project 2025 playbook, and instead of it being a dystopian nightmare was, this is how we're going to implement universal healthcare. This is how we're going to implement universal rights and labor reform and tax reform and increase wages and improve access to education and public resources, and we're going to bolster federal agencies by doing this, that, and the other. It's still a playbook. The end goal is horrendous, Project 2025. The steps on how to get there, anybody can follow. It's already written. So remember how I said we just need to be adults and stop trying to give each other homework? We already have a playbook to follow. Like the outline of how it's going to get done, Project 2025 already did the hard work for us and figured it out, okay? Instead of implementing the nightmare, we implement the leftist stuff. Universal programs, access to healthcare, childcare, education, labor rights, holding corporations accountable. Same exact structure, same exact playbook, or outline rather. Strategy is the better word, I think. Different outcome. And I don't understand why. I do understand why. It's because the left can simply not get along, and we need to get over that quickly, collectively, and as soon as possible. It can be implemented without Trump. It can. Again, it is currently being implemented under the Biden administration with a majority Democratic Congress. I wonder if the Democrats win and has power, which Supreme Court gives. Project 2030. Yeah. Well, it would be Project 2032. No, it would be Project 2029 is what it would be. And again, the Supreme Court, unless you have a supermajority of senators, which we don't and we're not likely to have, you can't just put whoever you want in office, even if you expanded the court. Like, in all honesty, expanding the court would probably be a death knell for Democrats, because then there would be no chance of a liberal ruling within the Supreme Court. And it's already a dismal outlook in the first place. All that to say.
Says he regularly speaks with Donald Trump about it, and it is all about infusing Trumpism. Talk just about well, first of all, I think Donald Trump is lying. We don't know for sure, but he has been prone. This plan, it is not hyperbole, right? People should take it seriously because it can be implemented. There's all this talk that, people are being hysterical, but this plan could potentially be implemented if an administration wanted to do so.
I think we need to hear that again, because I don't think you guys believed me a minute ago.
If an administration wanted to do so.
Notice how she said an administration, right? The playbook is literally, it's the manifesto is terrible. That's the part that's terrible. But the playbook, this is the pathway to achieving the terrible thing. Any administration can do that.
I'm so glad Project 2025 is getting more popular attention, because it needs to. It is essentially a plan against America and everything we know about the checks and balances in our government. You know, I think Trump's taken a page here with Project 2025 from Putin's playbook, which is, you know, Putin attacked our.
This is what gets me about MSNBC. Can they not push an agenda to save their lives? Like, again, this isn't the Cold War. It is not the 1980s. Putin is invading the Ukraine, and that's a problem. Yes. But, like, he is not the boogeyman. He is one of 3 superpowers in the world attacking a weak country by all metrics, and doing so methodically so as to cause the least amount of harm to the cities and the people. Is he still doing it? Yes. But he's not the boogeyman. Quit bringing up Putin. Literally, what are you going to do? Bring up China next? This is stupid.
Tried to interfere with our 2016 presidential election.
Oh,
and when
sorry. Do presidents of the United States have power to remove citizenship? The president can. That's interesting. No. The president does not have the authority to remove citizenship, and I don't even think exile is mentioned. Who has the power to revoke citizenship in the USA? So, according to the Supreme Court, which, hey, that might be up to debate now, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that a person born a citizen of this country cannot lose their nationality unless they voluntarily and intentionally relinquish it. Denaturalization can only happen if a citizen improperly received citizenship when they were not eligible for it, or if they committed fraud to get citizenship. The federal government can pursue a civil or criminal proceeding in federal court to denaturalize a citizen. So again, if you do it illegally or you choose to revoke it, those are your only options. The president cannot do that. Because think about it, then wouldn't Trump have just denied Hillary Clinton her citizenship status and then prosecuted her as an illegal alien with no rights? That would have been incredibly easier to do.
The special counsel inquiry caught him red-handed. Hey, these are your guys with the social media propaganda. We've caught them. We've indicted them. You know, the use of private citizens and oligarchs to do the propaganda within our social media allowed Putin that arm's length distance to say, I don't know, they're private citizens. So here we go again. We have the Heritage Foundation saying, you know, with Trump saying, I don't know anything about this, but you know, just like I don't know who the Proud Boys are. Who are they? What do you want me to say about the Proud Boys? It's the same thing. So essentially, it's going to dismantle the checks and balances. What would that look like within, for example, my old agency, the FBI, DOJ? Now, instead of, yes, we know the president gets to appoint a new FBI director if he wants to. It's supposed to be a 10-year term, by the way, but guaranteed Trump will find a new one who's loyal to him. He'll find a new attorney general who's loyal to him. But Project 2025 goes a lot further than that. It says even down the ranks now, they're going to remove civil service protections, and you can now have presidential appointees right down the floors of headquarters, of FBI headquarters and CIA headquarters. That means that the people who would rise up, report to an IG, say something's wrong, I'm a whistleblower, they'll be gone. They're gone. And so if you have prosecutors throughout the country who are loyal to Trump and get to choose and pick cases to open and close, you have an FBI director and several floors at headquarters who are loyal to Trump. You now replace the general counsel at FBI, which I'm sure he'll do. The one person who can say we're not doing this now is owned by Trump, and you have carte blanche to spy on and arrest anybody that the president wants to.
Which,
just let that set there for a second.
Unironically, is exactly what Richard Nixon did during the Watergate scandal. So there's even precedent in our country's history where a president tried. Now, granted, Nixon effed around and found out that that's not okay and you can't do that. And even the Republicans told him, his own party told him you can't do that. But as crazy as it is to say that Richard Nixon himself, Mr. I'm not a crook, is literally not as bad as Trump. That Trump's corruption and the Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, all this crap is so infinitely malevolently worse than what we considered almost the most heinous things to ever happen in our country's history. The Nixon administration, the other guy who got impeached, Andrew Jackson, just murdering indigenous people for fun. All of those presidents look like altar boys who snuck a sweet treat from the kitchen compared to what we are facing with Project 2025, because what that gentleman said is absolutely true. With some of the provisions that Project 2025 is trying to implement, among them is to be able to literally appoint whomsoever they want up and down the entire civic force, meaning even the hiring practices. I don't think you truly understand. This isn't just about appointing the director and the deputy director and maybe like a couple of, senior agents for these various fields. He could literally say at a Trump rally, who wants to work for me in the FBI? Fire everybody who's currently in existence, and then take his ralliers and put them in the FBI. Like that, I don't think you understand. Like that is what we're talking about. That is what we are actually facing with Project 2025. And the outline of Project 2025 could also do the inverse, right? You could pass authorities to make it impossible for a president or a congressman or whomever to do these things. All the things that the Project 2025 is trying to undermine, undo, destroy, dismantle, what have you, the same outline could be used to build and empower the American people and secure our federal agencies and our federal government from being corrupted or co-opted. So, just putting that out there. How you deal with those cartels? Are you going to interrupt Mexican's government to remove those cartels? No, you don't have to. Here's the thing. The cartels are Mexico's problem. We can completely gut the Mexican cartels by legalizing marijuana and creating treatment centers for the opiates like heroin and not treating it like a criminal activity. And the cartels no longer have power. They literally have no influence whatsoever in the American underground after that. And that's how you stop most crime. You provide resources and support for citizens, right? The poorest communities have the least amount of access to resources, right? That's the reality. The communities with the highest crime rates have the least access to resources. That's it. You eliminate poverty by providing resources. That's the trick. That's the magic wand, right? And it's so stupid because it's so simple, right? It just doesn't seem like that would work. There's a reason why video games work the way they do. There's a reason why every single social justice attempt at providing a universal basic income has done nothing but improve the lives of citizens, right? Video games tell you to have a strong economy so that you can build a big city. Because if you don't, this portion of the city will collapse, and then you have to try and rush to fix it. And then this part of the city will collapse, and then you have to rush over here to fix it. And until the whole thing comes crashing down. Whereas if you balanced it in the first place, it'll never come crashing down. And that's because in reality, in the actual society of things, that is also true. Just, again, take it to a very small level. If your mom, your dad, and you, and maybe a couple of siblings, want to live in harmony, what does your family need to accomplish, right? The parents need to either work and provide for the house, or one of the families stays home while the other does the work. The person who does the work provides the resources so that the one that's staying at home can provide the foundation. The children are, ideally would be learning how to educate themselves, improve themselves, and just play and get along. Kumbaya, right? But kids are kids. They're going to fight, they're going to argue, they're going to scuffle. But the fact of the matter is, you need the one person doing resources, one person doing management, and the others living their lives, bringing up new and inventive ideas. Expand that to a tribe, to a community, to a town, to a city, to a state, to a country, right? If people are forced to go home for 2 months because of a global pandemic, what happens? I know the answer because we lived through it. The entire economy comes to a screeching halt, and the GDP drops by 34% because people are not participating in the economy. Because they're not allowed to, for one. But for two, it's because people are the ones that actually make the economy function. Again, just like what we're suffering with now, all of these layoffs, all of these profit losses, all of these X, Y's, and Z's is because people can't afford to buy goods and services. And so companies, instead of lowering the cost, which would actually be the right thing to do, are cutting their losses in different ways by making it harder for people to find jobs and keep work, exacerbating the issues, which is what leads to recessions. Pop culture, it's been a minute. Nice to see you. He's just saying he doesn't want Project 2025 because he wants the vote of the people. He's threatening that if they don't vote for him, they're going to regret it. This is a level of insanity like Arkham Asylum insanity we have not seen. Yeah, no, and we definitely touched on that. That Trump is overtly saying he's against it, but personally and privately and behind closed doors, he's like, cannot wait to implement this thing. Come 2025, if he's the next Grover Cleveland in non-consecutive terms in office, he's going to embrace Project 2025 with open arms. Maybe we need to start your manifesto book. Unironically, somebody was helping me write a biography years and years ago, and that just never got anywhere. But after my DNC chair race, several publishers were like, all you need is $250,000 and we'll get this thing off the ground for you. And it's like, where do you think I have $250,000? If I had $250,000, sure, write the book and I'll go peddle it. But yeah, maybe we need to start your manifesto book. Honestly, all you have to do, this is how you would write the manifesto book. This is how you would write Secession's manifesto book. You would find the link for Project 2025. Where is the playbook? Do you just open it? Mandate? No. Where's the stupid thing? You can download it from the stupid website. Playbook. Hold on. There it is. I'm sorry, 922 pages, not 992. Thank you, Ruben. So, mandate for leadership, the conservative promise. So, all you have to do, Control H, which is replace, every time. So the first one that you do is Control H, conservative, and then switch liberal. Because, you know what? No, progressive. Just for the sake of argument, progressive. So Control H, replace conservative with progressive. From there, let's see. Acknowledgements, the advisory board, you would just delete all that. You would delete the acknowledgement sections, which it didn't even start at I. But it's already at 9 and everything else. Doesn't matter. Hold on. You don't see what I'm looking at, do you? I apologize. We're gonna copy this. Perfect. And I'll get to that in a second, pop culture. So you would Control H. And what is Control H again? Replace. You would Control H, conservative with progressive. You would delete these sections, all of these sections. You would just delete all of them. Section 1, taking the reins of government. That title stays. White House office, all these titles probably stay. You'd obviously delete the names, right? White House office. From popular culture to academia, the American presidency has long been a prominent fixture of the national imagination. Naturally so. Blah, blah, blah. With respect to the presidency, it is best to begin with our republic's foundational document, the Constitution. Okay, so this part is actually good. The decisions, the assistants, and senior advisors will directly impact the administration. As with most of these positions that will be covered in this chapter, the chief of staff, receiving guidance. I'm trying to figure out where they start saying some heinous crap here. Is this who they want to see? So this is at least going into what it actually is. That's good to know. So it looks like the first 25 pages is actually just describing the executive office. So maybe that didn't quite go into what where we were going to go. But that just means you don't have to change that much in this thing. All you have to do is get to the point where it starts talking about undermining things, which I guess I'd have to take a look at it. Point is, the main takeaway is you replace all the heinous shit with the stuff that you actually need in a country. Boom, manifesto complete. You could still call it Project 2025. You could call it Project Ronan for Progress. I don't really care what you call it. Getting back to the chat. Meanwhile, Teddy and Greg, Texas's tough guy in politics, are talking about their podcasts and focusing on their South Korea trip instead of putting a destructive weather issue as their main focus. If this were Beto doing that, their supporters would want him out of office for the lack of priority, which is true. Republicans can do whatever they want, even ignoring their duties, and they get a hall pass, whereas if Democrats do the same thing, they don't, which is, again, we actually hold our elected officials accountable. They do not. That isn't to say we, that isn't to say that we should just stop holding Democrats accountable. It just means that they aren't going to play by the same rules, so we have to play by a different set of rules as well. What are secessionomics? Why is this thing such a piece of garbage? So, fun fact, if you want to know what my economic policies are, all you have to do is go to samronan.com /issues. And taxation and America Works are the first two right there on the top four. That's border crisis, taxation, police reforms, and America Works. Taxation, here, why not? Why don't we just add that to our little view of things? Lock that sucker down so it doesn't. So, for instance, America Works. America Works job board, replacing all other job boards. All registered business entities will have their FEIN as their login and the SSN of the CEO or sole proprietary as the password. All business entities, regardless of size, may participate in the America Work program, to include any OJT efforts on the job training, so long as those entities can prove their competence in the field. This will typically require a proof of work or a minimum of 3 years of business activity. Startups may still qualify if they can sufficiently provide proof of work. All citizens 18 years or older will have automatically registered accounts based on their SSN as login and date of birth as their password. Anyone under the age of 18 will not be allowed to use this program, but will become automatically registered on their 18th birthday. National training centers, again, teaching you things, and then utilizing the government service worker salary scale so that whenever you're in training, you're getting paid. Imagine that. More incentive programs. Employers will benefit from training new hires by only having to cover the differences in pay that they offer for their positions and the pay covered by the federal government. However, employers are obligated to hire trainees from the America Works program for a period of 1 year and may not fire, lay off, or otherwise dismiss those trainees for reasons other than conduct, safety, or other extreme circumstances. Again, guaranteeing jobs, creating jobs through a government-supported incentive program that is also doing the training, sending people into the workforce with actual experience and getting paid. Then there's like some legalese there. American education. That also is in the issues page, which is under the universal education, I do believe. Then there's straight up education reforms, and then there's also education reforms. Universal education, curriculum and enforcement of curriculum. Boards of education below the level of state shall be abolished, and those duties and responsibilities shall be carried out by the superintendent instead. Curriculum determination shall be carried out by education professionals and adhere to national and state standards, respectively. Any government instruction, body, department, I think I meant institution, but hey. Similar authority that attempts to ban books based on prejudice, political, or non-academic reasons shall have those decisions and policymakers removed from their respective positions and charged under the 14th Amendment. The same holds true for whitewashing history, not teaching the horrors of slavery, the negative impact of U.S. imperialism, the genocide of First Nations, or the various historical crimes committed against minority groups by the federal government, respective to the age groups being taught. Obviously, we're not going to talk about genocide in explicit detail to kindergartners. Antebellum and similar pro-Confederate curriculum shall be disallowed, and violations thereof will be considered acts of treason against the United States of America, as it should be. You're undermining what the country stands for. I think I do address various culture. Maybe I don't. But that goes into other... I don't think I address religion at all because separation of church and state. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, you can wear whatever you want in school as long as it's, decent. Elimination of homework and increased rest between lessons shall be universally applied. I tend to quote Germany's education system because I experienced it, and I really like the way they break it down to like vocational, engineering, and or like trades and degreed work with then different criterion for each of the various levels of degree stuff, and then just getting straight into the workforce. I think these are really, really awesome. And then because it's America, you can interchange. If you decide, I just wanted to be in the workforce, but now I actually want to get a vocation, and you're like, you know what? No, then we should go to actual secondary school. All that to say, I saw someone on Twitter lecturing a Joe supporter as voting against her own best interests. That person appears to be a MAGA supporter. The kicker is that they praised the House about the Lakin Act giving ICE power to detain illegal immigrants about robberies. Didn't we already see Team Red wanting the dismantling government agencies such as ICE? Yeah, the Finnish education eliminates homework. That's one of the things. And the Finland made it illegal to have private education. So no private institutions. All education in Finland is public. That's one of the things. But of course, homework, increased rest, so on and so forth. Well, that's the thing, right? When if work is supposed to, if school is to prepare you for work and the real world, just because we live in a dystopian nightmare doesn't mean that you should be doing unpaid work after hours once your time is off. So, Ruben, you asked me about my manifesto. If I don't know what actually qualifies a manifesto as being a manifesto, but I would say if it's on my website, that's my manifesto. We could put it in a book, though. Homework is all a lie anyway, with what they turn in the next day. True. And then now we have Chat GPT on top of that. I don't think we really need to listen to too much more about MSNBC. They're just going to be fear-mongering. Trump world panicking. That's still MSNBC. Where's Trump's words? Oh, here we go. Biden. Just being a problem
and now
to
for something
himself.
A little different, and from inside the White House, we have a special guest joining us now, the 46th President of the United States and presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden.
We need teachers who can explain what we want.
Joe,
yeah,
right
we actually
now.
need
Good
good
morning,
pedagogy.
Sir.
And that's the word for it. It's not pedophilia, it's pedagogy.
Democratic nominee.
There you go.
Okay, well, Mr. President, that leads to the letter that we just received a few minutes ago. And I'm curious, there's a part of it where you talk about the fact that you got 14 million votes, 87% of the vote. It was an open process. You only had 3 people running against you. You have 39.
Okay, first of all, hold the front door. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? RFK Jr. is running as an independent, not by choice. Because the Democrats refused to actually hold a primary and actually refused to have debates within that primary. Are you kidding me? And they're just gonna... Oh my God, this is why we lose. This is why the Democratic Party is falling apart at the seams. This is the most disingenuous nonsense I have ever heard. Oh my
100
God.
delegates. And then you ask this question, do we now just say the process didn't matter, that the voters didn't have a say? I'm curious, is that an allusion also to Donald Trump and the fact that Democrats, you believe, may now be doing the same thing that Donald Trump tried to do in 2020, and that is overthrow the popular will of Democratic voters?
Well, look, Joe, let me say it this way. The reason I've been out on the road so much, all over the country, and while Trump is riding around in a golf cart, filling out his golf cart before he even hits the ball. But anyway, he hadn't been anywhere in 10 days. I've been all over the country, number one. And I've gone over the country for several reasons. One, to make sure my instinct was right about the party still wanting me to be the nominee. And all the data shows that the average Democrat out there who voted, the 14 million of them
First of all,
voted for me,
hold on a
still
second.
want me to be.
Joe Biden sounds great on this call. He sounds coherent. He sounds lively. But he's talking about a fair and open primary that just never existed. So go figure. He has all the energy in the world to sabotage actual democratic processes. Which, by the way, the primary process being able to be manipulated by the party itself is intrinsically election tampering. Whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, the Pink Pony Party, any political party that tampers with the primary process within its party is therefore election tampering. That is, if you are not allowing a true open primary, or you're denying the real accessibility to enter into that primary, then you are election tampering. And that is a major, major crime. And we just... because he's reading a script? I mean, maybe. And yup, yeah. Can do a Mott approves that or disapproves, right? Because they're corrupt. Do a Mott disapproves for the big screen, please, if you can. I need. There it is. Much appreciated.
If I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024, we had a Democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So I not only believe that from the beginning, but I wanted to reassert it and demonstrate that it's true. And I'm going to be doing that all through this week. And
first of all, they have had all this time and they're not fixing voting machines, so it doesn't register a vote that a voter didn't touch. And we didn't vote for Biden. We didn't have a choice, right? I didn't vote in the primaries for that very reason. That, and I'm in New Hampshire, and I'm actually registered in Ohio, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, we're not going to listen to 18 minutes of this, of just blatant misinformation, lies, and propaganda. And this is frustrating. Like, honestly, maybe being a political streamer is hard, man. Let me tell you, it's extremely difficult to do political streaming. You want to know why? Because as you do the stream, you just get angry. You just get filled with so much disgust at what your country is doing or what these elected officials are doing. And the only thing you can do is talk about it. That's it. That's all you can do. You can fundraise for other candidates. You can highlight other options. You can do call to actions. You absolutely can do that. But the stream itself has no choice but to follow the actions and proclivities of those in the news. And whether right wing or left wing, all of them are bad. They're just bad. And yeah, that's kind of frustrating. Why didn't YS didn't have Joe Biden? Okay, why didn't we have Joe Biden become president before Obama became president? Because that probably would have been, unironically, that probably would have been better. Largely because Joe Biden now is awful, and having Obama's charisma might actually be the conflict resolution that we needed. I don't know. Plus, you would have had what? From 2012 to 2024, you would have had 12 years of an Obama senatorship. Who knows? But yeah, that's not what happened, and that's what we got. Also, I wouldn't have. I mean, here's the thing: if Joe Biden was going to be president, that's the word I was looking for. If Joe Biden was going to be president, he should have been during the Obama administration, and Obama should have been the president this cycle to prevent Project 2025 and so on and so forth. But Joe Biden being president wasn't a good thing to begin with. He's not a good candidate. He's not a good leader. He does not have the best interests of our country in mind, as is evinced by the Roe v. Wade getting overturned, the fact that he didn't do literally anything he promised to do, which is how he stole the progressive vote and all this, that, and the other. So Joe Biden was just never a good candidate to begin with. That being said, yeah, I kind of would have preferred Obama now as opposed to an elderly and decaying Joe Biden. We have an economic problem, and these politicians are so shameless to say, give them money to fight whatever bogeyman there is. Right. And what do we get if we fight the boogeyman? We're going to get the same crap because, again, this economy is happening under the Biden administration. It is happening under the Biden administration. Why would we want 4 more years of this? Granted, we also don't want a Trump administration, because his economy was also bad. We've had 8 years of trash economy. Trash economy. We don't want another 4 years of trash economy. We want improvement. We want Jill Stein. We want secession. We want literally anything other than what is currently on the docket. He was also in last place until Clyburn said progressive visions are bad. I don't know what you mean by that. That was posted twice, that last place thing without my doing. Oh, yeah. Well, hey, look. See, my stream is getting sabotaged regardless, so it's not just me. It's the stream. But yeah. I think what we should all do is collectively play the lottery. Okay? Hear me out. We all play the lottery, and when we win, then we can go ahead and primary all these ass clowns, because we'll have the resources to create an infrastructure, the proper messaging, the proper social media, candidate training with support systems in place, and then we can win. Funny how Putin said he may end the war with Ukraine if Trump wins. It's funny how the United States can't force Putin to end the war in the first place. This shouldn't have been a thing to begin with. And it's because the West was trying to play games by getting the Ukraine into NATO. And that's what started all this crap. Pass me like 1,000 scratch-offs to boost my chances. Yeah. I think we're done with that. Our country will suffer. Yes, it will. Top U.S. world headlines. Sure. Where was... Let's do... is Ayanna Pressley on here? Hey, there it is. There it is. This is the one that we really wanted to watch. And also, TYT submitted this 2 days ago, but
Mr.
the
Berry,
exchange
Chapter
actually
18
happened
of the
10
Project
days ago.
2025 manifesto is about the Department of Labor. And you are the author of that chapter, correct?
Lead author, yes. There's others too.
Yes, you are. I believe the American public should know exactly how you and the Republican majority that invited you to testify today want to sabotage the EEOC, rewrite the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and push all of us back to an era of Jim Crow racism. I'm shocked that my colleague across the aisle was in disbelief at our characterizations and assertions of racism and discrimination when even former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy
everybody
said
says the country will suffer if someone wins,
like
and
the
then
most
they cause the
restrictive
suffering
country
themselves.
club in America. We all know that Make America Great Again is about making America white only again. Thank you to our witnesses for being here today. You know, although the subject matter of today's hearing is to be expected, it certainly makes it no less offensive or frightening. My Republican colleagues very often like to quote Dr. King. I don't know, maybe for some faux civil rights credibility or.
I always did wonder, why are those doors constantly opening and closing? Like, why is there all this foot traffic in the middle of a hearing?
Legacy. On the first page of Chapter 18, Project 2025 complains about how the Biden administration has been fighting for racial equity. On the next page, it calls for eliminating data collection on race and ethnicity in employment. On the page after that, it calls for rescinding an executive order signed in 1965 that prohibits discrimination in hiring by contractors. Mr. Berry, do these terrible ideas sound familiar?
They're great ideas.
These terrible ideas.
See this? No remorse. He's like, yeah, buddy, we're going to go push this down everybody's throat. We're going to make America white again. Like, Mr. Berry is basically, who was Goering, I think? This dude is literally trying to be the Nazi propagandist. Literally. Like, not figuratively, no hyperbole. He was the co-author of Mein Kampf, essentially. That's what Project 2025 is.
Ideas sound familiar? Of course they do. You came up with them. Mr. Berry, I find it...
Now, I'm trying to see where this whole complaint about Biden was, because I didn't see Biden at all. Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm stupid. I must have went right over it. But Joe Biden's name is mentioned in the 992 pages 375 times. And this is on page 45, not 25. So either I misunderstood her or she meant to say 45. But it is true that the Biden administration is outright named. Like, as specifically, not like, hey, we were under the Biden administration, but like, no, the Biden administration is causing this, that we don't like it.
Shameful to advance a vision attacking the very policies and agencies that have helped Black Americans secure jobs, earn a living, and provide for our families. This Project 2025 plan is policy violence, plain and simple. Its authors have placed such a large target on the EOC because of the incredible work the EOC is doing today. Last year alone, the agency filed more than 27,000 charges of race-based discrimination.
Now, hold on a second. We just need to hear that number again.
7,000 charges of race.
Oh, no, there was more than 7,000.
Target on the EOC because of the incredible work the EOC is doing today. Last year alone, the agency filed more than 27,000
EOC complaints. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot when you consider the workforce is 150 million people. But let's do the favorite thing that we love to do on this channel, which is fact check. How many employees are POC? 76.5% of the workforce is white. Let's see, hold on. We're going to add another source. We're going to do the calculator window. There's approximately 155 million workers. Oh, because it's the window. That's fine. All right, hold on. So we got 155 million workers, and it's 76.5% of the workforce is white. So we would actually need to do what? 23.5? Oops. Oh, wait, yeah. Well, no, that's not right. 0.235. So 36 million workers are not white. And she said 37,000, or did she say 27,000? Well, if she said 37, no, let's just hear it. Let's just hear it again.
Charges doing today. Place such a large target on the EOC because of the incredible work the
27,000.
EOC is
Okay.
doing.
So it is, and just to put that in perspective, 27,000 is just under 1%. Oh no, not just under. It would be, well, 0.07%. Still, that is not an insignificant number. 27,000 is still quite a bit. And this is across the whole country, right? So I I know the number and this percentage doesn't look like a big deal, but this is a small town in the United States of America. This is like your average small town, the entire population being discriminated against for being simply for not being white. That is an egregious number to me.
Today, last year alone, the agency filed more than 27,000 charges of race-based discrimination. These workers and their families have a pathway to justice, accountability, and healing because of the policies and regulations that Project 2025 is trying to get rid of. Ms. Wiley, how would workers be harmed by Project 2025's commitment to undermining crucial protections that are enforced by EEOC and other federal agencies?
Well, essentially, it guts the ability to both be able to have the rights and have enforcement and protection of the rights that we already have, and we've been seeing improvements and advancements when we have been enforcing them. And I'm also deeply concerned with any suggestion that we should not be collecting data or that labor rights, the rights to organize, which has been so important for workers across race, including white men, to ensure that they're getting fair wages and safe working conditions. All of these are actually in that chapter, and they threaten our workplaces for people who are white, for people of color, for people of all backgrounds in this country. And I think that's why we all need to be concerned, because it really is about all of us.
And not only that, as it turns out, I don't know what Ayanna Pressley was specifically quoting, because she said she processed 27,000. According to the EEOC.gov website, they process 80,000 job discrimination complaints. So I think she said that was how many were charged. So there's actually 80,000 complaints each year, and 27,000 of those ended up with actual criminal charges, which is still a little bit better than what? That's like almost 30%. That might actually be 30%. What's 27 divided by 80? 33.75%. Still, that's a pretty good turnaround, and that's going to be significantly better than the 0% once Project 2025. So, and then as Ms. Wiley was saying, that this has to also do with workers' protections in general, right? Prevailing wages, worker safety, all these things are covered by the EEOC. OSHA is another thing that wants to get gutted by Project 2025. The literal thing, the literal agency, and I think it's even a private agency, that, well, hold on. OSHA is government or private. Maybe I'm getting confused because you have to pay a private institution to get OSHA certified. Okay, so it's the part of the Department of Labor. So my bad there. I have an OSHA 10 and 30 card, but I had to go through like the University of Florida or whatever to get it. So I was just confused for a second there. But point being, the Department of Labor, they're trying to gut that. They're literally trying to make it so that indentured servitude is not just the norm, but the only option. And never mind struggling to find rent and places to live and to eat or to vote or to have fun now. Imagine when Project 2025 gets a hold of everything. Imagine, again, I cannot stress this enough. I really can't. What's the definition of the minimum wage? The least amount of money a company has to pay you. If Project 2025 gets rid of the minimum wage, companies can pay you whatever the hell they please. And I guarantee you it isn't going to be competitive. Same thing with job safety. Why do safety laws exist? Because of OSHA and the Department of Labor. You gut those things, guess what? Sir, I don't feel comfortable doing this job without safety glasses, steel-toed boots, or gloves. Too bad. Either do it or you're fired. How many more workplace incidents and deaths and fatalities and worse? Yeah, and I say worse because you can get dismembered or... Anyway, there are things worse than death. And I've worked in maintenance. Like, I've turned wrenches. I know these hands don't look like the hands of a worker, but I've worked. I've sweated. I have a scar on my back from getting cut, trying to get under shit. Like, I probably have scars all over my hands and forearms, actually. The fact of the matter is, though, workplace safety only exists because it is mandated. It is forced. It is being regulated that these companies must adhere to safety standards, to include training, right? Because otherwise, hey, hop on this forklift. Good luck. I really don't think people understand just how egregious this Project 2025 is. So they're saying they're going to do good things with a straight face, like better wages and stuff, while they actually intend to do the opposite. Ruben, no, minimum wage is not a woman's wage. Minimum wage is literally the minimum wage. And once that goes away, it's never mind wage inequality that currently exists. Nobody is going to be making a good wage, and that's going to be a detriment to the economy as a whole.
That's right. They
more so than it already is.
Workplaces for every person who calls this country home. EOC offers essential protections that create workplaces where all of us can thrive, but Project 2025 aspires to be the realization of a decades-long crusade by Republicans to strip away this key pillar of the Civil Rights Act. As a founding member of the Stop Project 2025 Task Force, I look forward to showing and telling the American people exactly who you are, Mr. Berry, along with your extremist friends. I urge my colleagues to join me in building the inclusive world we know to be possible, one in which everyone... Is there something funny?
No.
I didn't think so.
She's got some
Nothing funny
spice
about this. And in honor of my departed mother and for my 15-year-old daughter, I will do everything possible to stop you from building the world that you were hell-bent on doing. I urge my colleagues to join me in building the inclusive world we know to be possible, one in which everyone can show up to work free from discrimination. Thank you. I yield back.
Ayanna Pressley, folks. And here's the thing. Ayanna Pressley, how old is she? I'm certain she's 35. Ayanna Pressley is 50 years old. Why isn't she running for president? Right then and there. Are you kidding me? That would have been a significantly better stump speech than literally anything else that we could have possibly seen from a candidate. Like, are you kidding me right now? Ayanna Pressley, 2024, let's go. Like, she's well-spoken. Granted, she was reading off of her script, which is fine. She wanted to get her words out, which is cool. Not all politicians can speak off the cuff. It is difficult. I have actually trained myself to start using a damn, teleprompter. And I find it more difficult to talk off the cuff when I'm actually trying to do content. So it's like being able to balance, when is it appropriate to do the other? I'm still working on it, and I'm really good at public speaking. You can consider this entire stream one long exercise of public speaking, really, but that's neither here nor there. But it's not like we don't have good Democrats, right? It's not like we don't have representatives that actually give a shit about the American people. Ayanna Pressley, let's go. But evidently, in 2024 election cycle, not so much. I wouldn't vote for her. She's worse than AOC. Well, I would like to redirect the chat to leftist infighting. Okay? Listen, I don't care if she isn't a saint. I don't care if she isn't perfect. She is infinitely better than Joe Biden. And until we can get that through our thick skulls, that we need progress in our direction rather than absolute complicity with our ideals before we even consider supporting them, we are going to get worse. We're going to get Project 2025. Like, I don't care what she has done. She just did that. She just did that grilling of Project 2025. Here, you want to let's look up Ayanna Pressley's voting record. From January 2019 to June 2014, or 2024, I mean, she's only missed 75 of 3,011 roll call votes. which is 2.5%. This is on par with the median of 2.1% among the lifetime records of representatives currently serving. The chart below reports missed votes over time. Her voting records for Vote Smart. Since you want to become combative and prove the very point that I'm making, which is, again, just because they're not perfect allies doesn't mean that they aren't fighting towards the left instead of towards the right. So let's see. She voted against the Department of State Foreign Operations and Related Programs Appropriations Act. She voted against the Department of Defense Appropriations, so she voted against the military twice. Expressing support for democracy and human rights in Pakistan. She voted against American Cooperation with Our Neighbors Act, which apparently passed 368 to 19. She voted for the Divided Families National Registry Act. She voted against Service Member Quality of Life Improvement and National Defense Authorization, so I think she's just anti-military, which is fine. Recommended that the House of Representatives find United States Attorney General B. Garland in contempt. She voted against that. She promotes a resolution to the Tibet-China dispute. She voted for wastewater infrastructure prevention. She voted for no hidden fees on extra expenses for stays. Again, voted against military construction. Illegitimate Court Counteraction Act. I don't know what that is. She voted against that. She voted against prohibiting individuals who are not citizens of the United States from voting in the District of Columbia. So she basically wants to encourage, because DC is its own little thing, I guess. She voted against the Anti-Surveillance State Act. Now that one might be a bit questionable. Financial innovation and technology for the 21st century. She voted against that. I'm assuming that had more to do with surveillance than anything else. She voted for the federal prison oversight, federal disaster relief. She voted for setting consumer standards for lithium, securing growth and robust leadership in American aviation. I mean, the list goes on. She is more left-leaning than not. I don't care if it's AOC or Ariana or whoever the hell else. You're missing, you're completely, you're proving the point that the leftists just can't get along. They're not good enough. They're capitulating. Get over it. Grow up. If we don't have if we don't even have leftists fighting, then it's a lost cause anyway. Okay? Well, those leftists aren't left enough. Okay, but they're left enough. They are left leaning. And at this point, I would rather the pendulum start slowly swinging back this way than trying to put 2 or 3 leftist just superheroes to try and fight against the entire remaining 535 members of Congress to drag one whole pendulum back. So no, grow up. Whether it's you or anybody else watching, grow up. Start supporting leftists in general. And if you don't like them, primary them. But we need any amount of victories at this point. We need fighters in the trenches. And we don't have it. And if we're just going to be like, well, they don't meet my expectations, then okay, enjoy Project 2025. Enjoy. Agent 47 is to be the dummy down version. That or Agent 47 is Project 2025 is the evolved version of Agent 47. Agenda 47. AOC isn't even that good. Again, I'm not arguing that she isn't the greatest candidate that we could have. Obviously, that would be Jill Stein. Of all the candidates and of all the political figures with any ounce of recognition, it's clearly Jill Stein. But it's not like there aren't Democrats who are to the left of Joe Biden that could have put their name in the hat. I don't know much, but I heard Kennedy is running as well. He's not a leftist, though. Kennedy is definitely not a leftist. He very much so supports Israel and a lot of the other conservative neoliberal policies. We need politicians who say no homework for students. Okay. since you want to argue with me, Oshun, since you want to argue, all of the Democrats and all of the Republicans are voting to support Israel. Them's facts, okay? That is the reality. And I don't like it. You don't like it. We don't have to like it. We don't have a choice. If we don't have skin in the game, if we don't have a fighter in the ring, then all we're doing is venting. All we are doing is sitting outside the ring without a fighter in it, saying, boo, you both suck. And how effective is that? Is saying, boo, you suck, going to win the fight? No, it's not. You need a fighter in the ring. And I'm not saying I'm going to sacrifice my morals and ethics, but I am saying if her fallacies are she doesn't support the military and she supports Israel because it's politically expedient, okay, but she's fighting for other left-leaning ideology, then that's a step in the right direction and we can work on the Israel part. Again, you're arguing with me. Okay. Yes. You know what's very productive and constructive in left-leaning politics? Arguing about whose candidate is better. Instead of just supporting candidates that are at least leaning and trending left. Yeah, let's just argue about who is ideologically superior. That's been working for us so far. But do we really have any fighters in the ring besides me? Jill Stein. And honestly, I don't know of too many Green Party candidates that are prominent either. Again, none of them are elected. There are no Green Party candidates at the federal or the state level. And again, it's because of this holier-than-thou nonsense. Well, they're not good enough. They're not left enough. We can't support them. At this point, either someone invade us or we leave because so many people are going to be hurting from this. Well, you can't even leave because it's too damn expensive, and other countries are preventing Americans from entering into their country because of the nonsense that's happening here. That's not all that much unlike saying we need blue people in office and wait on the changes because they gotta clean up the mess, which you know they'll make the mess more messier. Okay, so now you're conflating my words. I'm saying we vote blue no matter who is not the same as voting for leftists who are already trending left, right? Vote blue no matter who is one of the wings of the same bird, right? Right wing, left wing. Republicans, Democrats, they are a part of the same bird. Progressives, even if they're not pure, even if they're not perfect progressives, are not on the same bird. They are a different bird. Maybe they're flying in the same damn flock, but on the left side. Again, I don't want incremental change. If it were up to me, I would clone myself enough times to run an effective campaign and just run for office that way. But that's not a realistic option. And again, there are better candidates who aren't currently in office that you still don't support because in your own words, in literally your own words, amongst other leftists and their own niche groups and their own niche organizations are like, they're not left enough for my niche group, so I'm not going to support them. Multiplied by 30,000 niche progressive groups that could otherwise organize a effective campaign strategy for candidates across the country and choose not to because, well, this progressive doesn't support my Save the Whales initiative, although they support these whales and those whales, they don't support my whales, so I'm not going to support them. Meanwhile, the next whale group is like, well, you support my whales, but you don't support this particular niche B, so I can't support you. Now there's two whales missing, despite the whales being supported, because they don't meet your ideological expectations. Explain to me how that is better. You want to argue? Go ahead. Let's debate me, bro. Let's go. I will destroy you. I don't care if you're on my channel. I don't care if you're a supporter. If you're going to say stupid things like that, I will absolutely dismantle your argument piece by piece and destroy it completely and utterly to showcase how stupid and utterly ineffective it is and how that contributes to the never-ending leftist infighting. I am not going to tolerate it. So let's go. Let's go. Ian is pretty good, but she wasn't born in the US. Sure. No, I never was doing that. I was just saying that what you said isn't all that much unlike it. I never said you were saying it, but that's like saying, well, this is the hand we're dealt, and stop making one thing a deal breaker. Nikki Haley is a Democrat, according to MAGA supporters 4 months ago. This freaking country needs a reset. Agree, but genocide is a hard line. Exactly. I'm not arguing that genocide is a problem. Nobody here is saying that. Nobody here is agreeing with it. We have leftists that are in Congress that are fighting. And by simply dismissing them outright, the good that they are doing, how else to phrase it? Go on my page then. Go to www.samronan.com/issues and pick apart any of my issues that are on there. Go ahead and pick them apart, and then stop watching my channel, and then stop supporting me as a candidate, and we are still in the same place, except with less people. Like, you will find a problem, a deal breaker for any candidate under the sun, to include Bernie Sanders, because I kid you not, Bernie Sanders condemned Hamas and supported Israel right after October 7th. Nobody wants to talk about that, though, do they? No, because he later walked it back. I don't know. Let's see. Ariana Presley. Ariana Presley's stance on Israel. Presley filed a pair of amendments to increase funding to global humanitarian assistance and place a 1-year moratorium on the transfer of offensive weapons to the Israeli military. The amendments were not adopted in the final legislation. So you're also wrong. As of April 20th, 2024, Ariana Presley filed a pair of amendments to increase funding to global humanitarian assistance and place a 1-year moratorium on the transfer of offensive weapons to the Israeli military. So you're wrong. Not only are you arguing with me, making a disingenuous argument, you were also wrong about it and then doubled down on the whole rhetoric. So again, we can keep playing this game and you can continue to prove me right that the left will simply just cannibalize itself over and over again rather than try and find common ground, which is the point that I am making. We need to find common ground. I would work with Ariana Presley and I would condemn her every single day that I could for not supporting Palestine. That doesn't mean I just stop working with her, though. If we can find some common ground, we need to find it. Thread the fucking needle. That is the difference between leadership and governance and whatever extremism, or no, that's not the right word, whatever idealism. If idealism worked, if that actually got people to vote and support their candidates, get them elected and get them into office, stay in office and accomplish the goal, we would have had it during the Bernie campaigns, both of them. But it didn't, because it doesn't. Because idealism without action and without a realistic approach to working with other groups is going to fail every single time. And again, when you split that idealism and that ideology, even amongst allies who do otherwise agree with everything, except for they aren't going to prioritize your niche concern, is just as damning. She didn't vote for the funding. She literally didn't. Jesus Christ. She literally didn't. She voted against it. She voted for humanitarian funding, which is a big pool of money that goes to every country in the world, not just Israel. Israel gets military funding. They don't even get humanitarian money from the United States anymore. We went over that in a previous stream. Stop arguing with me and being wrong, or back up your words instead of just your feelings. Socialism world is more competitive than the capitalist world, probably, until or unless the United States gives capitalism, or freedom, to those countries. It's like those red politicians who praised funding to various infrastructure projects, but have the record of voting against it. Oh my goodness. Why are all these articles just paywalled? I hate that shit. I mean, she's joined October 16th, 2023 for immediate ceasefire. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, in 2019 and in 2021, she was on the wrong side of history, but I didn't know about Israel either back then. So what? Am I a scumbag because there was a point in time that I wanted a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine? Because it's true, I did. I didn't know enough about Israel and Palestine. I was like, yeah, makes sense to me. Make the Holy Land its own separate thing like the Vatican and let Palestine have its land back and Israel have whatever it currently has. Call it a day. Then people were like, hey, you know there was already a treaty for that. It's like, cool, let's implement the treaty. Obviously, I didn't know enough about this situation. So are you going to call me a scumbag too, and that you shouldn't support me because I at one point was not informed enough to make a proper decision, but still made a decision as a candidate? Go ahead. I don't necessarily think working with someone like Ariana is a bad thing. That something you've done just cuts off the line of communication. Right. Right. We need to work with people. Not don't. Yeah, no, I kind of picked up what you were saying. So what I'm getting at is, A, people do evolve, and leftists are more likely to change or at least grow in their views than liberals or conservatives. Okay, Oshun, whatever. I'm not arguing with you. If you want to just argue and double down, go right ahead. You can have at it. I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm really not. Again, because your disingenuous comments about her, you can leverage at me, but you're still on my channel. So either call me out equally or stop trying to disparage against an individual for making a specific decision. Secondly, go ahead and look at what the funding for Israel actually entailed and see if it was one of those things where Israel was added as an add-on rather than the primary. We are not having a conversation. You're arguing. You're completely missing the point. You are so focused on proving that Ayana is a bad person that cannot be trusted and cannot be worked with. And I am telling you, you are proving the leftist infighting true to the most umpteenth degree by not recognizing that she is still an ally, even if you don't agree with everything she does. And again, you can work with her and still call her out. So again, you don't like that she's supporting Israel? I don't like that she's supporting Israel. Would I work with her to get other initiatives passed? Yes. And would I take every opportunity I could to remind her that she's on the wrong side of history? Yes, I would. That's the difference. And not enough of that is happening. So any other argument or discussion to the side would be irrelevant. But in the case of Joe, I was told he did evolve, so he should win. But he hasn't evolved, right? Because actions speak much louder than words. Okay. That's the hill you want to die on. Outstanding. Great. Moving on. What do we got here? I think we actually did cover our major topics. We got Project 2025, right-wing extremism in the EU, and Biden to be forced down. Well, we didn't quite get to the Biden is going to be forced down. So Biden to be replaced. Yeah, dropping Biden wouldn't help because there's nobody good to replace him. That's the main thing. That's Sky News Australia. I don't know how... There's a form of elder abuse going on. I think we've all said that at this point. I thought there was something better that was actually putting forth more information about it. Another House Democrat. Oh, here we go.
I'm going to give you my #1 tip to get over a breakup, and that is going to be going to therapy. Going to therapy helped me.
Congressman Adam Smith of Washington State, the top Democrat on the House Army.
She did to eliminate certain subsidies for fossil fuel protection. Thank you, Ruben. There's the... Anyway. At least we are now educating ourselves on the Palestine-Israel war. I mean, I knew about it since 2009, but I was also a child at the time and wasn't informed myself.
Armed Services Committee and Congressman. For the record, we usually have you here to talk pure policy and foreign policy and armed services, not politics, but this is a fraught moment in our democracy. Where are you on this issue? What's your message to President Biden and to your fellow Democrats?
Well, look, I think he should step aside. I think it's become clear that he's not the best person to carry the Democratic message. And here's the thing. We have an incredibly strong message and record.
Okay, hold on, though. Let's take some irony here, though. Rep. Adam Smith shares the same name with Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, and he's saying that this old man needs to go so that we can input somebody else better. That's an interesting irony.
Respect to the president, he's done a great job. Okay, when you look at where the economy was when he came in, how our economy dealt with COVID so much better than any other economy in the world, the progress that we're making, the unemployment rate, stock market.
He keeps talking about economics. This
Housing's
just gets better.
expensive.
That's hilarious.
Inequality is still too great, but we've made progress on that too. That the lowest black unemployment, black poverty rate came under this president. I saw a report today in the New York Times that some of those, areas that have seen the manufacturing jobs flee are actually starting to get better. Okay, and then on the other side, you've got Donald Trump, who's a complete disaster. Project 2025 and his promise.
That keeps making it into the news too. We're going to have infighting on the left because we've been screwed so many times with who we do have that people are going to not trust someone on just even one thing. That one thing to them spells a ton of trouble for the future that is supposed to be aimed at keeping intact. And then, yes, and it does make me happy. I have a friend from Palestine. We used a Skype, and his screen would go black and disconnect. That's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. And finally, we're agreeing again, Oshun. That's good to know. But as pop culture was saying, the infighting on the left is because we've been screwed so many times that we cannot trust someone on just even one thing. And again, focusing on that singular niche issue and refusing any sort of constructive working together is the entire problem. And I don't know. Maybe this is where I'm too much of a hierarchical person. And it's because I know that I am flawed in my views too, or that there are probably views that I share that people aren't going to agree with. For instance, my gun control. I don't think it matters what kind of gun you have. I don't give a damn if it's fully automatic, an RPG, a tank. You can have whatever you want. You can have a flamethrower for all I care. Fully automatic. As far as I'm concerned, if you can afford it, great. Go through the training, get it registered, and then be held accountable if you misuse it. Period, dot, end of story. Like, this isn't rocket science. But there are an extremely high number of leftists that are like, oh my God, you're so conservative for supporting that type of gun control. So you're not going to vote for me because I support firearms being handled with care and responsibility, and mandating training and responsibility to go along with it, and significantly higher penalties for firearm accidents or outright murder or acts of aggression. Okay. He would tell me later it was a bomb going off. Jesus, that's not great. I never heard you say about your green policies plan, by the way. It's because we didn't get to it yet. We got sabotaged, sidestepped. Our chats would continue like that. Every chat I had with him, I would make it the most because I didn't know if it would be his last. That's not great. And to be fair, definitely did not say she would have cut off communication if she was in office alongside Ariana or whomever it is. I don't have a problem with guns. Oh, great. We found a niche that you don't have a problem with. Again, if for whatever reason my entire platform was what it was, but I wanted a two-state solution with Israel, you would just drop any support for me. That would absolutely be the most stupid thing you could possibly do. Honestly, it would be if Bernie Sanders ran on the exact same platform but said, we're going to support Israel, and now all of a sudden you just don't support Bernie Sanders, and then you get Biden or Trump or somebody worse. You've done it to yourself. You've literally done it to yourself. Honestly, I'm not going to argue this. I'm literally not going to argue this. It is a pointless waste of oxygen. I recently got in touch with him. He is currently in Dubai with his own company. He recently told me that he lost most of his family and friends to this war, which I think you and I actually had a conversation about that. I'm sorry to hear that is still ongoing, but at least he's relatively safe in Dubai. But here's the thing, even though says no to Ariana as president, the state is still going to be blue. So to ask her to vote for her anyway is kind of moot. No, it isn't, because now we're disregarding the whole electoral process being completely rigged by the two-party system in the first place, which is in itself a problem, right? Primaries not being fair and open are the entire problem. And just because your state is blue, oh, my vote doesn't matter, then we need to have ranked choice voting. Like, cool. I rep Adam Smith, folks. What was the rest? Oh, extremism on the EU. Why not? I'm already tilted. Let's go. EU right-wing elections game. Jeez, that's scary. That's 4 weeks ago, though. 3 weeks ago, 7 days ago. 18 hours ago. Okay, no, we just went over that. I don't want to watch that. That's just going to make me super duper depressed. Far right and progressives react at the same time to France. Okay, well. Can France form a coalition after Macron's election gamble? I guess that is... Okay, so nothing else has actually happened with the EU except for the French election. Oh no, I guess we didn't cover the UK.
It's Pod's biggest sale of the summer. Save up to 25% on moving and storage for a...
The UK general election results are finally in, and it's terrible news for the Conservatives, who have now suffered one of the biggest losses in their history, after being in power for 14 years, since Gordon Brown in 2010. The clear winner is the Labour Party. But before we look at the results in more detail, let's first have a quick look at how the UK elections actually work. The UK uses a first-past-the-post system in general elections. Each of the 650 constituencies elects one member of parliament to the House of Commons. As an example, let's look at the Suffolk Coastal constituency. 5 parties received a significant number of votes.
All right, I'm gonna squash this again. Vote blue no matter who is vote for whoever is on the ticket simply because of party line. Voting for a progressive who happens to have things you don't agree with, but overall supports the ideology you are, but not voting for them because of that single issue or singular issues is self-defeating. And that is infinitely different than vote blue no matter who. I'm not saying vote for any single progressive, but I'm saying if your options are a progressive, a Democrat, and a Republican, the Democrat and the Republican are effectively the same person, but you're also not going to vote for the progressive because of a single issue. You have now turned into a single issue voter, and you are voting against your own best interests. You can still hold them accountable. I know. You can hold them accountable. Why don't you just... Again, that's why we are talking about contacting your rep, writing them, outright harassing them, messaging them every single day, calling their offices every single day, not just you, but all of your friends. Like... Guys, if you're coming to this stream, this is usually not how these streams go, but hey, that's what a political stream is all about, right? Leftist infighting. Gosh. If the only thing you're going to do is, well, I'm not going to vote for them because of that single issue, but then still end up supporting a Democrat or Republican or some other throwaway candidate, there's disagreeing, and then there is literally being counterproductive, which has been the whole theme of the past 2 weeks of stream, is that we need to start being productive. We need to start building infrastructure. We need to start uniting under common cause. Common cause. Not unless it's just this one niche thing. Common cause. If I don't support your whales, I still care about the environment. If I don't care about your bees, I still care about universal health care. I might support Israel, but that doesn't mean I'm trying to get rid of universal education or improve labor rights. But sure, let's keep drawing lines in the sand, because that is what's clearly working to keep the left movement together.
Labor
Labor won. So I thought this said it was going to be, well, I thought that implied it was going to be conservative. So how about this then? EU is increasingly right wing. Sure. See, these are all this week. There we go. Yeah, that's probably the answer that we want, right? Although the Tories got booted out, so that's good. Maybe we can find out the after effects.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
After 14 years in office, retaining power was always going to be a tricky task for the Tories.
That's just being human. We have our dislikes and likes. We may not be into the same thing ourselves, but doesn't mean we can be supportive. Right. We do need to be supportive. That's the main takeaway. We need to be working together.
Served to worsen the Tory polling. This doom loop of bad polling.
Oh, it's this guy.
Fragmentation,
I recognize him.
Fragmentation causing worsening polling created a space for a new right-wing upstart. This came in the form of Reform UK, a party that Farage helped to set up and run, although he has only just taken on the mantle of leadership since the election was announced. Now, the result of all of this was a devastating night for the Tories, who were pushed from the right by Reform UK, and who were damaged by tactical voting on the left between the Liberal Democrats and Labour.
So actually, this isn't a good thing. The Tories were like Bush-era Republicans, according to this, and now the Tea Party won and neoliberals won. That's... They say it takes a village to raise a child. America is our child, and we have a few bad parents. We absolutely do. Yep. We absolutely do. And just because we don't agree with our parents doesn't mean we can't, A, hold them accountable, and B, work with them in the areas in which we do.
Total, and with 5 seats still to declare, the Tories won a mere 119 seats, the worst in their history. With infighting so bad beforehand, the question now is, how much worse will it get? And ultimately, could this be the beginning of the end of the Conservative Party as we know it?
That would be fantastic. So, that is reaffirming that if Grandpappy England can lose its conservative stranglehold on power, maybe there's chances for us in America and other places in Europe as well. Maybe it's not all over yet. Project 2025 notwithstanding. Oh my goodness. Project 20, yeah. So, no, I think we covered all of our major topics then. I think we did. It is increasingly right-wing in the sense that the conservatives lost, but the alt-right grew and the neoliberals grew, which is causing that increasing divide, right? And it's shifting the Overton wind. Hasanabi just posted an hour-long thing 10 minutes ago. Isn't he live? What? How the hell? Man, I wish I had a whole media production team. How the hell? Sorry, I opened a page and it immediately unmuted. But he is live right now. He is literally live right now and still managed to post something that's an hour long. What a legend. What an actual legend. Robert K. Jr. on Joe Rogan. God, do we want to do that to ourselves? 3 hours? You know, we've been doing
yes,
Jill
I
Stein
think Donald
shout-outs.
Trump would be a really scary president. And yes, I think that Joe Biden is a really scary president. I think fascism is here right now. We're seeing it, rolling out on our campuses and, around the country. There is no greater trademark of fascism than genocide. I think we've got that now. The solution to fascism is democracy. It's not the suppression of our political views and our political debates. We have to stand up and assert our democracy. If people are concerned about vote splitting, which I must say is not supported by the facts. The facts suggest that nearly 2/3 of our votes are coming from people who otherwise won't vote. They just won't vote. And right now, that is off the charts. If you look at, for example, the New York State Democratic primary about 3 weeks ago, there was a 12% so-called uncommitted, but there was an 83% no-show, 83%
Jesus.
relative to the numbers who came out for Joe Biden in 2020. Now they are basically voting with their feet. So we need to seize the moment here because we're all kind of going over the cliff right now.
Yes.
And
messaging
yes, I think
and working together. There is a plethora of Americans who want to vote for somebody that they can believe in. Fine. Lots of them are going to have single issues, and a lot of them are going to be single issue voters. But those should only be the fringes. And here's the thing. If we can navigate those single issues, we could literally sweep every single election in America. Why? Because did not vote is the largest voting bloc in America. That's who we need to be appealing to. Not Democrats, not Republicans, not Green Party, not whatever else. Those who aren't voting, we need to give them a reason to vote. And not alienate them. And not browbeat them with rhetoric and ideology. Just find out what they care about and share that with them. And if they force you into a gotcha, oh well. What in the hell? Ugh, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to give that a platform. That's interesting. What will blackmail voters do in 2024? Sure, why not?
Ear protection. Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty well. How are you?
Chad King is a gun enthusiast and a father who is guiding me on how to shoot. He's also the exact type of voter Democrats and Republicans hope to woo in the U.S.'s November presidential election.
You want to shoot?
Are you going to walk me through it?
Yes, I am. That make you nervous?
Yes.
Look, proper gun safety.
Okay.
Let's go.
Am I responsible enough to do this?
Are you responsible enough to vote, considering the consequences of that?
Amen. Oh my goodness. Can we say that again, please? Let's go.
Are you responsible enough to vote, considering the consequences of that?
Now that's gun reform right there, folks. That is responsible gun reform. That is responsible gun ownership. That is responsible adherence to the Second Amendment. Let's go. Hyped. I don't think any candidate running for office is going to be pure. They will say the wrong things from time to time. They'll put forth policies that seem counterproductive. When they look at a candidate, if they see an issue that looks suspect or blatantly bad, they perceive it as this is going to cause a huge mess. Right. And again, this is where Project 2025 and the conservative bloc has really, really, really stood out. They are literally training rising stars or just volunteers as we remember Thursday, we signed up to be a part of Project 2025 in the hopes that we would get selected and approved so that we could take their training, because they are offering training, not because I give a shit about their training, but because we need to see what it is they are teaching so that we can maybe combat it. But until or unless that happens, right? And if we aren't going to nurture the next generation of candidates either, and okay, fine, not everybody is cut out to be a candidate. If we aren't training people how to fundraise, to campaign manage, to door knock, to volunteer recruit, to be a treasurer, I'm glad you did too. If we collectively, as progressives, aren't doing the work to train the next generation of candidates or campaign participants, we're also doing ourselves a disservice. Well, and you're right. You're right. That's the bringing it home full circle, right? All that to say. Why did that get muted?
Okay, let's do it.
Black male voters are not monolithic in our ideology. We don't have the luxury, quite frankly, of focusing on one single issue.
Chad is one of the 34.4 million black people eligible to vote in the United States. In the U.S.'s political system, his vote from a battleground state is more impactful than the majority of millions of black voters around the country because of an inequitable electoral process.
How do you think people view black voters as a voting bloc?
They vote Democrat. We're only seeing when it's time to vote.
They're trying to say that the election hinges on the black male vote.
This is not a battle against Joe Biden or Donald Trump. It's uneducated, motivated electorate versus the rest of the common sense voters who may or may not vote. And that's the challenge.
The United States saw 3 of its highest turnout elections in decades between 2018 and 2022. But when you drill into the 2022 data, you see Democrats' key strongholds, black voters and young voters, had lower turnout.
If you want to know what a black man thinks about politics or electoral process, ask one.
Yes.
Here we go!
Actually ask the people and listen to what they give a shit about. And if you don't align, you don't align. But more often than not, if you're talking about improving people's lives,
the U.S.'s next president may be chosen inside sanctuaries
demographic.
like this. Detroit's Bethel AME Church is the largest precinct in Michigan. It had the highest number of voters registered and the highest number of ballots cast in the 2022 midterms. This year, Michigan is one of the most important states in the election.
Say hello to Coretta.
I haven't been on your Twitch
yes,
in a good minute.
Coretta.
But did you discuss what SCOTUS is doing in general with what they are overturning?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I name all of my guns after historic black women.
Gun rights are central to Chad's political views.
To be perfectly honest, and I don't even, like, the words that I'm about to say are so dystopian and stark, it's not even funny. SCOTUS overturning Chevron and attacking the EPA and the SEC are heinous. And unfortunately, Germany becoming susceptible to the alt-right and Project 2025 emerging into the mainstream are so much more heinous that it is actually drowning out the SCOTUS decisions. Not just in my channel, but the news as well. Project 2025 is such a heinous dystopian power grab in an attempt to just undo all of the good this country has done in the recent years that SCOTUS literally ringing the bell for Project 2025. Make no mistake, their actions are in line with Project 2025. Are insignificant. They pale in comparison to the atrocities that they are trying to commit through Project 2025. What is the name of the institution which counts the elections in the United States? That would be the Electoral College, but it's not actually an institution. It's like a mandate. Each state gets an electoral vote for each congressman and senator for their state, and then they have delegates that they select based on, I think each party gets an equal number of delegates based on the number of electoral college votes. And I think each state does it differently. And then the delegates are supposed to vote in favor of the popular vote, but some states don't mandate that, which means red states could ignore the popular vote for a blue candidate outright because they don't want to. There's also all or nothing, which means if you're in that situation and it was a split 50-50 or a 51 to 49, then that 51 would get all of the delegates versus only a share. So there's that as well. Which, you guessed it, not democratic at all.
I always say you vote with your heart in the primaries, but in the general election you vote with your brain. I haven't gotten to a point where I feel like I can confidently say, yes, Joe Biden is the person I should vote for.
What are you iffy on him about?
I'm iffy about him, certainly on the firearms issue.
Gun ownership is almost universally seen as an issue for conservatives, white conservatives. It's a tenet of the Republican platform.
I think that gun rights are just as important as voting rights, in my opinion. In fact, I think they're inextricably linked.
But Chad, who is the legacy of
Go
black
ahead
people's
and run that Mott doesn't approve, because that's correct. How does our vote really count if that is not being mandated? It should always be proportional, not all or nothing. Also true. I literally had this discussion almost a year ago with my husband. Yeah. So the Electoral College, I want to be correct in where this comes from. So, not my brain, not my thoughts, not my opinion. The Electoral College is a process, not a place. The Founding Fathers established it in the Constitution, in part, as a compromise between the election of the president by a vote in Congress and election of the president by a popular vote of qualified citizens. Oh, what does that mean? It means it has its history in the earliest days of our country and in the founding principles of our country, the Constitution. That's the first thing that it means. The second thing is that this is a way for the states to ultimately have control and authority over who becomes the president. It was also a way to count slaves in population counts for congressional seats and electoral college votes, but not for actual abilities to vote. So it's systemically racist, it's fundamentally undemocratic, and it is meant to empower the states, not the citizen. I go on a rant about that every chance I get. It should always be proportional. Told them that in order for our vote to count is to not vote. Imagine how they are going to explain how someone won if no one voted. Well, let's read what pop culture says, and then I'll get back to that. Can we talk about the status of Washington, D.C., having people living there getting to vote, even though the place is a district and not a state? This gives me the no taxation without representation vibe, but granting them some power just to keep them quiet. Also, we have the political institutions set up over there deciding legislation, even though they represent various states. A state representative deciding what goes on all across the country. Why does this feel weirdly bad? Because it is. And it's the reason why DC wants statehood. Because they are governed by Congress, which already can't govern the country. And they deny the citizens their own rights and freedoms and, all the other fun stuff. Because there is that ambiguity of being a DC citizen in, Maryland? Doesn't give you the same rights as being a Maryland citizen. Now, to Damon Vu's, okay, hold on. I guess we're going down. It's like Puerto Ricans. I get to vote if I'm here, but not if I'm in Puerto Rico. Why, if you can get all electoral colleges and state vote, if you win the most electoral in that state? That's how that works. That is the point. I bet they would hear us if we didn't vote. That would be a revolution. May actually open some people's eyes. But I'm glad you reiterated it. That's where you're wrong. The does not vote block is actually encouraging more conservative leaning policy and candidates to win, because when voter turnout is low, conservatives tend to win. That's not just in America, that's across the board. And the psychology behind it is because protesting by not exercising your rights is giving up your rights. Protesting by exercising your rights by voting somebody else entirely, right? For instance, Oshun has on occasion brought up a write-in initiative for me. If you really wanted to protest your vote and get everybody in the country to protest the vote, what you would do is want to convince 270 million voting age members to vote for me for president. Even though I have no access to any ballot in any state, by any right or reason, am I legally on any state ballot? I don't have the money, the resources, any of it, right? But if 270 million people voted for me instead, they would have to adhere to it. That would be a protest vote. Or voting for Hammurabi. But again, voting collectively and in concert, right? If everybody just voted for themselves, that still wouldn't accomplish the goal. There would just be a recount. But if it's an overwhelming victory, despite not necessarily having ballot access, that would be a constitutional crisis. If you're not in your state, you can do absentee ballots, like Oshun said. I've been writing to vote for him on all sorts of boards. I don't have rights. It's being proven each and every day that they can take it away, hence Project 2025. Well, that's the thing about rights and freedoms. They exist so long as you fight for them. The right to vote for women only existed because women fought for it. The end to slavery only existed because a literal war was fought about it. The right for black people to vote was only a result of winning that particular war. Rights and freedoms exist so long as a population fights for them. If you don't fight for them, you lose them. I can't believe the US do the election every 2 years. Actually, there's an election every single year, but it's the term limits that make it seem offset. But Congress is every 2 years, Senate, a third of it is every 2 years, and the president is every 4 years. But I get where you're getting it out. I only said imagine if we did. How many US spent for a held election? Billions, usually. Well, for the president, millions for Congress and Senate and governor, and usually hundreds of thousands for everything else. They keep making us fight for the same rights over and over, again, because people choose to protest by not voting rather than by voting someone else altogether. And we're back to the question of why they just don't ever vote for someone like an RFK Jr., all swearing off the two-party system. Exactly. Concerted efforts just seem to not work. Because we can't agree on anything in this country. Because it's impossible. It's a two-party system. Except Lincoln was a third-party candidate, and there were several other candidates as well. If it's down to 3 people, just vote for the third person who's not two-party. Again, and then we could get Jill Stein for the same thing. But now we split our vote between Jill Stein and RFK Jr. Like, again, as a community, we can't even collectively agree, let's go all in right here. But that's what Jill Stein was talking about. Her team is building the get out the vote for not voting people to support her. And if that actually happens, if that somehow gathers momentum and steam, she could literally win the election because the majority of people don't vote. And if those people then voted for her, she'd win in a landslide. Shake my head. We have been fighting for women still, and look what has happened. Apparently my body is owned by others, not me. It's frustrating. It is. It is incredibly frustrating, and I'm not even a woman, and I'm frustrated. Like, who the hell gets to dictate what to do with your own body other than you? Like, and it's not like they're even saying you can't get a piercing until you're 18. Like, that's kind of reasonable. Or a tattoo until you're 18. That's kind of reasonable. But, like, if you're 11 and you're raped by your father, you have to carry that child to term. Like, that's insane. Like, A, that's going to destroy that 11-year-old's body. Let's call that what it is. 2, there's no punishment for the father. And 3, That kid is a product of incest, so it's going to have a lot of genetic defects anyway. How is that pro-life? Yeah, in no way, form, or fashion is that pro-life. How are primary elections getting funded? Through themselves, by the parties, typically. And then the federal government also gives them millions of dollars so long as they meet certain criteria. Yes, the largest voting bloc. But yeah, while we all disagree on a lot of things, there's nothing much to say no to the top two guys on red and blue. How hard is it to say no? It's only one choice. I agree. And if we all said no and voted Jill, she would win. But if we all say no and write in ourselves, one of those two will still win. Because it's not an overwhelming number. We literally have to go all in. Whether that's Jill Stein, whether that's RFK Jr., whether that's me, whether that's Hassan, whoever. If we don't go all in, then it doesn't matter. That's the problem. We don't act collectively. We do not act in concert. We do not unite using our strongest power, our numbers. If we just focused on our numbers, we'd win handily. So the members of parties fund primary elections and also dictate the terms of those primaries, which means none of them are fair, none of them are open, and certainly not free, which means the illusion of a primary within a two-party system is voter disenfranchisement and election tampering, which is illegal. Like, screw me for wanting to enjoy adult activities, but shunned if an accident happens, even if it was prepared to my best abilities not to happen. I mean, and if we're going to control a woman's body, why not make it mandatory for men to get a vasectomy? Those can be reversed. You turn 18, you go straight to the doctor, get the old snippy snipperoo, Dunskies. Why aren't we having that conversation? Oh, that's right, because controlling women's bodies is okay, not a man's body. Yeah, they want to get rid of birth control. I think they also wanted to get rid of daycare centers. Which, how would that even work? You're going to force people to work for significantly less, make it impossible for people to own homes and provide. But you're also going to deny childcare services and defund public schools so that you have to go to a private institution that you can't already afford so you can be indoctrinated. Like, the amount of just... Anyway. It's 6:30. I think we need to start finding a video that we can play in the background while we play some Age of Empires. Uh, 8 minutes. $56 minutes. Yeah. BlackRock and Wall Street profiting from Palestine. Yeah, that's terrible. Russia-Ukraine interview with Tucker Carlson. That's 2 hours. I doubt we're going to be up here for 2 hours. we could shit on Taylor Swift for 3 minutes. NATO killed the U.S. or the Ukraine peace deal with Russia. That could be an interesting one. What else do we got? How the USA inspired the Nazis. Well, the Nazis are inspiring the Germans again anyway, so that's, wonderful. What about that psychologist podcast? Well, that's still only like 9. Oh wait, it is a bit longer, isn't it? I just gotta find it. Unless I already closed it. 41 minutes. Speaking of psychology. Embed? We don't want to embed. So let's do this. We're not accepting squat. Let's see how this works.
Once again, it's election season. This year, contests from governorships and Senate seats to city councils and
Kim
school
Mills.
boards
You
will
know,
turn on.
For some reason, I just thought it was a dude interviewing this guy, but it makes sense. Kim Mills would be a woman. Holy shit. I've been not keeping up. I like to read news like Republicans voting in Democratic primaries. Yeah, well, that often happens. Sabotaged primaries on top of that. I'm contemplating on getting a hysterectomy, the only defense I have against those over my body, which is pretty disturbing, right? You have to rip it all out just so that they can't hold it against you. And it's true, it is terrible that they're making women go to those extremes. Have I ate catfish? I have. Tastes like chicken. We also need some kind of enforcer to make sure legitimate votes are counted. How can we trust who's in charge of counting it? Unironically, the United Nations has been blocked repeatedly from overseeing elections in the United States, even though the United States mandates that the United Nations oversees elections in other countries. So that's the true irony. There is no oversight and there is no enforcement, and it's usually the boards of elections in the county that do it, and they are typically, if not universally, but definitely typically, very, very partisan. Like, laughably, comically partisan, to the point where it's like the actual crimes that Trump was being charged with was because of the partisanship in those areas. Yeah, it's terrible. That said, thing is, I don't even want to do that. I'm not sure if I'm done having kids yet, which is the problem, right? You might not be done having kids yet, but they're going to make it harder for you to not have kids. So what? You have to be celibate until you choose to have kids? Or what if that choice gets taken from you? Now you have to carry that child to term because you have no other recourse? It is terrible. I don't know what Blinkist is. It's hard on your body. You often go into early menopause. Oh, because of it getting removed. Okay. I'm only 32. I have about 10 to 15 years left before I hit that. But I think she's saying if you get that stuff taken out. Then when you get a hysterectomy, they treat you like a stigma that you're worthless because you got rid of your woman parts. Exactly. That's the other thing. Unless you can produce baby, i.e. worker, for me for free, you useless. Blinkist is an audiobook library. Yeah, but we're going to not do that. We're going to do this instead. I was literally about to say that, yeah. Man, we're just having all sorts of fun conversations today. You can hear the Karl Marx book. Again, I don't care about the Communist Manifesto. I think the left relies on it too much. Read the literature. Read it, or else you're not a true leftist. Okay, then I'm not a true leftist. Stop baiting people with a book, even if it's an audiobook. Stop. Just listen. Politics is real simple. Politics is ludicrous. Governing is insanely simple. You know what you do? You know what you do when you want to do politics? This is how easy it is. Does it harm others? Does it infringe upon others? Does it give me more power over others? The answer to any of those three questions is yes. Then it's bad politics, right? Does it harm others? Does it infringe upon others? Does it empower me over others? Yeah. If any of those three is yes, then it's bad politics. If the answer is no, it's good politics. Welcome to my TED Talk. Well, stream. Ha! Gatekeeping. Yes, that's exactly what it is it's gatekeeping. And that is the thing that we can literally not afford to be doing. Hold on. Wait a second. Didn't we, Okay. Guess we'll have that playing in the background like that.
Once again, it's election season. This year, contests from governorships and Senate seats.
Or maybe we don't. Maybe we just keep this conversation going while I play Age of Empires and get my ass handed to me. Society would deem me less of a woman because I went to that great length to have a surgery like that. Mind you, the potential complications that could ensue. Right, notwithstanding. By the way, they're gutting medical and healthcare access as well to the absolute barest minimum, and even then, it's for profit. So that's not good, regardless. Going back to my DC point, the people living there are voting, but they're not a state, and the 50 states who do vote on legislation are controlling their lives with what's available and what's not available. No, I agree with you. Being in DC is like being an American, kind of. Even though you're literally in America, and it's literally the capital of our country. I only read Marx because I was constantly being accused of being a commie, and I wanted to know what I was being accused of when I was in high school. And here's the thing, I'm not refusing to read it because I'm petty. I'm refusing to read it because, A, I'm kind of stuck for money. That's part of it. And secondly, I don't think it's going to help my worldview any. And I think things like bourgeoisie and proletariat are confusing to the average voter. They don't understand those words because, again, the theory is not good messaging. It just isn't. Ideology through the lens of an emotional connection is good messaging. So unless you're going to read the Communist Manifesto in such a way that you learn how to be, whatchamacallit, emotionally engaging, then it's kind of pointless. It's literally pointless. Like, I said what I said. I don't think we even need to listen to this because we're doing good here with our conversations. I'm ready. We're gonna go Rome. And we're gonna kick some ass. One of the bad policies humans ever invented is you can pay lower taxes if you have enough kids. That's not true. Why the government demands us to have enough kids so we can get lower taxes? I was gonna say that's a tax incentive. And yeah, sure, some people abuse it, but think about it this way. Taking care of kids is expensive because we don't have universal health care or education or child care or any of those things, right? So the government is like, hey, if you happen to have kids, we're going to help you out with that. And honestly, I don't even care if people do it to abuse it. Like, it's a program that's there to help. And just because some people abuse it doesn't mean we need to get rid of it. Lady Demon View or Demon View. And then they make it harder for you to afford the necessary medical things for the post-op. Right. That's one thing the government does right. Like, scammy insurance is going to cover that as well. Exactly. In the US, you get a better tax break for having a dancing horse than a child. Well, that's also true. You can write off a private jet, but you can't write off school supplies. Oh. If you're single, you have to pay double taxes. That's also not true. That's just not true. I mean, the tax system is based off of your income, and that's about it. You get more deductibles, you get more deductions if you're married or have dependents, but again, that coincides with the extra cost that it takes to provide for them. So you don't pay double, you pay your fair share. Oh, in the Netherlands? Maybe. I can't speak for the Netherlands. Looks like York is not going to be joining us in this match. The Armenians. What do they give us? Infantry +2 line of sight. That's going to be pretty awesome. The Franks... Knights have... Oh, that's going to be pretty awesome. And what do the Turks do? Gunpowder unit... Well, that doesn't help me because I'm Romans. And we don't get gunpowder. Are we going to load? I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And I just realized if I do control units and then press this button... Son of a bitch. Alright, we're gonna get rid of, keybinds, hotkeys. Restore default values. Yep, none. We're just gonna do none. We're just gonna do none. Sounds like it's expensive just to be a human. Well, it is certainly the case in America, for sure.
Salve, edifico, eus, edifico.
Alright, so, okay. I'll take us back to the screen here.
Impera, colligo.
Once I can get my start up here. Thank you. I was trying to remember what I wanted to say about insurance for a couple or so hours. This has nothing to do with the hysterectomy. What I want to say, but when I was recovering from wound surgery and operation after my gallbladder surgery, my insurance only allowed me a wound vaccine, which was the, wound vacation? No, vaccine, which was the worst version of it. I didn't get to have a decent vac. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the vac stands for, to be honest, but...
Eus, colligo.
Seriously?
Recte. Prontus.
No, kill him.
Colligo.
I am so bad at this game, guys. Why do I keep playing?
Prontus, colligo.
Okay, so both of our bores are right there. Now, hopefully my team doesn't just upright and abandon us, because that would be super annoying.
Colligo.
Then, let's see. We're gonna go get some wood in the back. Oh, we're gonna go behind the gates then. Let's go. Go ahead. Build one of them doodads.
Colligo. Impera.
Then we're gonna go get ourselves a boar. And hopefully I don't lose my villager.
Salve, edifico. Eus.
Colligo. Eus.
Alright. I pulled it off, folks. I did not lose a villager. Despite having to go through a bunch of different things. Alright. Perfect. I think we're good still. Have them go to the boar after the fact. Where did my boy go? No. So I didn't get housed, but still. Didn't quite keep my uptime perfect. We're probably gonna need to go after the sheep here.
Impera. Edifico. Venor. Lignor. Venor. Prontus.
Alright.
Impera.
Nope. After this boar. Nope. I'm gonna go after the boar. Jeez. You got this, Jimmy. You got this, Billy. Let's go. Let's go.
Prontus. Colligo. Salve. Venor.
Impera.
Venor. Prontus. Venor.
Let's go. That's what we're talking about. All right. Keep going for the wood.
Eus. Salve. Colligo.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I'm gonna get housed.
Prontus.
Edifico. Lignor.
Whoa, yeah, okay. Sorry. I have a hard time concentrating on both things. It has forced me to eat a lot healthier to avoid the flare-ups, which is a plus, but the con is that I had to ride it out each time because I can't afford the surgery. My insurance is $800 a month, and they never want to cover anything, which is insane when you think about it. Like, That is an astronomical sum of money to be spending on insurance to literally not get anything for it is ridiculous. Like, most people cannot afford, Most people cannot afford $800 a month of anything, let alone not get something from it. Like, that's just utterly ridiculous.
Salve, solligo. Salve. Edifico.
Alright, so we're going to do... Oh, that's not even everything yet. Sorry. Blue... I'm not even on insurance because 2 of the major insurance providers in my states declined me for being overweight, which is stupid. Like, again, weight is not a health crisis. It's literally not. Never has been. Blue Cross and United Healthcare, which, again, the fact that healthcare, or Obamacare, like the insurance companies, are what was mandated rather than actual access to health is actually one of the most appalling, do not go over here. Is one of the most appalling decisions to come out of an administration. That's terrible. I had to wait 3 months to have my surgery because I started having gallbladder attacks at the height of COVID in 2020. It was awful. I was hospitalized 3 times. They emailed that to me. I have United Healthcare. It also sucks. Sounds like it. Definitely does sound like it. Wow, that is insane. My insurance has never been more than $137, and it covers everything, but living in Massachusetts is so expensive, they get you in other ways. Right. Which is part of the problem. Even the states that do try and cover healthcare don't do a good job of it. I know your chat went pretty fast, so I didn't want to leave you hanging without knowing what vac is in case you missed it. It's vacuum. Oh. So, like, an internal vacuum of the wound and the gut and all that stuff? New York has the state health insurance, which costs about that much, but I'm not eligible, which is stupid. Hey, we're gonna provide for this state-sponsored thing, but we're gonna make it impossible to actually gain access to. Like, make that make sense. Why the general house material in America are wood? Is it America's #1 economy in the world? I don't quite know where you're going with that, but houses are made out of wood in America because it is literally cheap. That's it. That's the only reason. It is cheap. That is the sole and express reason for using wood. I'm considered a healthy adult too. I don't drink or smoke or anything that would be considered unhealthy and still declined. Make that make sense. Well, it's just like, in order to get life insurance, you just have to not be 60. But the second you're 60, it goes through the roof.
Salve, edifico, lignor. Eus, edifico, lignor.
It's a device outside that you attach and it sucks out the stuff inside that is not supposed to be inside. It was meant to shrink the size of the wound enough so I could get it closed up. Oh. Hey Lib, want some Project 2025? Well, you're gonna get some Project 2025. Your boy Bryden is brain soup. Can we block Armed with Opinions because he's clearly just trolling, and we're not gonna humor trolls. We don't feed trolls here, even though they're usually starving for attention. For the record, I don't support Biden, just to be clear. If you had actually paid attention to the stream, you would know that I don't support Biden. But, you know, go off, King. Where are we with that ban? I know there's mods on the channel. I am literally unable to move.
Pronto, ligno, edifico.
I don't need you silenced. I just have zero desire to tolerate you. How do you ban? You click on the person, on their name, and then you just click ban. It actually isn't as intuitive as you would think, unfortunately. Also, the caliber of trolls is just getting really worse. Oh, Snowflake. Oh, you be sad. Oh, is that all you got? You have no nuance. Do you even know what Project 2025 is? Chances are that ass clown isn't even going to be able to have a normal life either. Like, it's going to impact him just as badly. How many mods are there? I don't know, actually. It's not that they're too expensive, it's that companies choose not to utilize them. Like, it's literally just greed. It's just literally greed. Most of the things that we could have and don't is because the people who make the money would make slightly less money if they did that. Which is, again, really stupid. A very, very, very stupid reason not to do something. That the people who have too much choose to not make enough money. Back to the how many mods? I don't know because, whoops. Because I feel like if you become a sub, it automatically gives you mod control. You didn't need it because it's on ban, so somebody else banned them. Oh, there's a castle there. Well, we know that now. And chances are we are gonna want to build our own castle. Quick. And siphon as much stone as we can. While we can. And then as for, we're probably gonna get attacked. Let's see. Not trying to POH the mods. I'm not a mod. Oh, well, I can mod you, but you're also not on enough. Generally, build their homes or just buy a house which is already there. Anymore, it's they buy a house that's already there because building a house is extremely cost prohibitive. Oh, that's reassuring. I just want to make sure that I can build a castle there when the time comes. How are we on that castle, folks? Let's go, let's go. Build the castle! All right. Why? Yep. See, they're trying to do what I just did. Oh, man. Come on, get out there. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, man. Get him. Come on. Get over here. Attack! Alle angreifen! Let's go! Let's go! Get him! Let's go. Oh, dang. So close. So we'll go ahead. And then this is actually funny because technically, they can't harm. Oh, shit. Oh, guys. Alright, go here. Then, yep. I think that's all we're gonna do. No, they're doing it. Oh my goodness. That's okay. We can do the same thing though. Which is hilarious, by the way. We're gonna rain petards on them. Oh man. This is what's called, I don't even know what you would call that actually. Being goofy? I don't know. They're attacking my guy. This is hilarious. Alright, so... I think they are going after my guy. No! Get him! Stop him! Oh man. So what, are they able to build the petards faster than me? That's funny. Hold on. Get him. Get him. Let's go. Let's go. Oh man. Let's go. That's so stupid. Actually, I can go imp. Oh, I can't go imp because I don't have enough gold. Actually, let's just go ahead and build another town center and another town center. That's hilarious. That shouldn't have worked, but it did. Oh, guys, sorry. The real first nerdy president. Obama was a fake nerd. Oh, geez. Oh, no! I'm missing chat. I am so sorry. I am not Viper. I'm sorry. That was a lot for me to deal with. If you can imagine. Go ahead. There. Hold on. Alright. Can we build? Alright, let's go. Let's go! Alright. So we're gonna want oh my goodness. Yep. We're gonna go there. Build. Why don't you also do that? Yep. Right, now we're getting some wood. Oh, yeah, let's go. All right. So now we're getting our techs. We can afford to use that real quick. Then we're gonna need to. Where am I gonna build my house? Yep, that was what I was worried about. Guess no risk of that happening anytime soon. Okay, so now we are moving up in the world. Okay, I'm back. Definitely worth it. Oh my god, you guys are just... Alright. This is your stream now. I'm just here to play video games at this point and calm down from the stress of the conversation earlier. Actually, what we need is to build that, followed by one of these, followed by an absolute metric ton of that. Yellow, I think you got it. I think you got it. Check it out. We're stopping them, buddy. We're stopping them. Calm down. We got you, fam. We got you. Now we're gonna just build an astronomical sum of houses here. And then we are gonna start building our legionnaires. Let's go. All of our wreck, right? Oh no. Oh man, you should not have been advancing to the Imperial Age when you're getting attacked, friend. That's how you're gonna get got. Unfortunately. That is exactly how you get got. Trust me, I know. I found that out the hard way a few times today. Yeah, fine. And 7. All right. Oh, that's teal. Let's see. Well, then let's go down here and just disrupt the eco. Let's go. What are we doing? Well, yes, but no. Still need a couple more eco. Wait, why the hell? Oh, you. Okay. Now let's just go and start building our blacksmiths. 20 more vills, that should be enough. I'd rather go to Dollywood. I think we would all rather go to Dollywood at this point. Hold your horses. We're building army here, okay? We're building them. Oh, but I haven't been researching, so that's not right. Good. Red, push. All this wood. Not enough farms.
Lignor, edifico. Salve.
Eus. Lignor.
Salve. Salve, prego.
I don't know what he's bitching about. Just fight one person at a time. Like, what are you? So they're doing 7. I finally have 6. Alright. Now then, I should be able to do something.
Ad pugnam.
Damn, dude. Calm your tits. Alright, so we got Gray. We got Teal. Now we can go after Green. I just love how effective the Roman Legionnaires are. Oh my goodness. Am I even at pop cap? I don't think I am. Now I am.
Prontus. Edifico.
Prontus.
Oh.
Edifico.
Yep, go ahead and attack that. Y'all attack that one. Y'all attack that. By the way, Centurion makes Legionnaires hit harder and faster. And then, of course, the Centurions also get to do a boatload of damage to buildings, which obviously does help in other ways. Green, nice. Now watch this, cataphracts. Oh no, cataphracts are anti-infantry units. Well, that's a bummer. I don't think I have done anything to counter them yet. What we got going on? 15 and 72. Let's go ahead and take their. Trade carts, paladins. Well, I got neither of those. I can make cavaliers. Got all of our researches down. Well, teal's dead, so we don't even need to be wasting. Green is also dead. Okay. What would that be? 3. And then we're just gonna send Scorps on down here.
Salve.
The fact that blue thinks they're still gonna pull out a win here is kind of, sorry, Senpai is busy. Let me Google then. I wonder if Senpai will notice us. Listen, first of all, chat's moving faster than it ever has, okay? And it would have been hard to keep up even if I wasn't being a part of the winning team right now. But anywho, what are we Googling? I don't even think, oh my god, I saw a party bus in Puerto Rico that was so awesome. It had a disco ball, strobe light, and they were blasting music. Blue, why aren't you resigning? Thanks? Why are you sending me gold or food or anything? I'm pop-capped, friend. I am actually pop-capped. Blue's like, it isn't over until it is over. Da. Look at him though, he had triple walls. Man, if only his allies hadn't fallen, this would have been a gnarly thing to get through. Absolutely gnarly. He's doing it though. His elite katas, man. Anti-infantry unit. Like, don't sneeze on him, man. I'm telling you right now. Katas are not to be trifled with. They just aren't. Now what happened to Mo? Okay. So I'm gonna start losing my pop cap because I am not gonna be able to do anything about it. They just mow, and then they get the trample effect. Maybe the whole GDP of America is right there. I googled it and a TV show popped up. We're planning a road trip. Oh, okay, cool. Sounds like fun. I hope you get good internet, so you can still watch me on stream. Hey. All right, what were the statistics on this? 1144, so he's played a bunch of games and he's actually decent. I'm slowly getting up there. So everybody seems to be around the same thing. Blue's played 1,000 games and is around the same. Oh, okay, so we're actually all around the same. Hell yeah, let's go. Okay. That actually was about an hour? How did I do? Did I have any standouts? 0 buildings lost. I received the most tribute. Father Rome, of course. Tech, I had the most research. Nothing with society, and I was the last to Imperial Age. I contributed there at the end. I contributed there at the end. Look at that. When I started pouring into gray, they were like, nope, we're done. And then I started turning my attention to teal, and they're like, nope, we're done. And then that's right. And then green was like, nope, I want no part of the Roman legions. And then, well, the legions came into Byzantium. Secession, you're driving the party bus. Oh, cool. Well, I hope we do a lot of fundraising then. The more I talk with Americans, the more I believe that education is illegal in America. Well, technically, you're not wrong. I confirm our education is not the best, but can't fault us for what we are teached. Well said. That was a little fun. How about... well, we'll do again. Do ranked. I'm actually feeling confident about that. So, I'll be right back. Quick break. Ooh, nice. The Romans, the Saracens, and the Celts. Let's go. Did they teach you about the Great Depression in America? They sure did. And then they taught us about how it was the wealthy people with businesses and capitalism that got us out. I think sometimes they actually told the truth and said it was World War II, but... And ever since then, our economy has been focused on a wartime economy. Oh, back in queue. That sucks. My grandmother was born during that time. Yeah. Silicon Valley is a newer thing. It's not in history books. I know about it because I've been involved in politics since I was a kid. Ooh, Romans, Aztecs, and Saracens. That could be a good one. What do the Saracens give you? Foot archers +2 against buildings. That's not bad. What do the Aztecs give you? Relics generate an additional 1/3 of gold. It's not bad. I came from a Bible-thumping state where Christianity was our politics. Fun fact, if Project 2025 comes through, that'll also be the case. Yeah, they didn't want us to realize that it was the government spending. And when was the Soviet fall? I mean, what, the 90s, right? Although, if you listen to MSNBC, it seems like the Cold War never ended and Soviet Russia never stopped being threat to America. Since we have some downtime here, let's see. Okay. Oh, did pop culture, I'm sorry, Pop. Sorry, pop culture. Wasn't ignoring you on purpose. Jesus. Who needs me at all in this stream? Y'all had a lively conversation. There we go. Your Russian accent is pretty good, da. Because if ever I had to go to Soviet Russia, I want to make sure I blend in. Though I don't actually know Russian. That'd be the problem. Oh. Man, we're even doing ranked, and we're getting 5-minute queue times. That sucks, bro. I guess we don't have to play. It's 7:30. I think we got a good stream. Honestly, I think we got a really good stream. I think we covered a lot of ground. We had some leftist infighting because, of course, we had a conservative troll who got promptly banned because why? And I think we got a lot of conversations out there. I also got to highlight some of my policies, so that's always fun. And in fact, this is perfect timing because now I got dinner. You don't have to see me eat like an animal. You'll still come back. We might not alienate future viewers. It's all good. I used to do a Russian accent for my Russian friend in college. Imagine that mixed with a Puerto Rican accent. Let's see. Well, what's a See, I could do a really bad probably racially ambiguous Hispanic accent with Russian, but then I could never run for office. Now, which country recognizes the America first? America, that's it. That's the only country who cares. That's the only country who cares about America is America. Everybody else thinks we are literally becoming fascists and are ruining the world. Literally. Everybody. Not some of the countries, all of them. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, not trying to deter anybody who just showed up, but we're gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you all for coming to the stream. Thank you for having a lively conversation while I tunnel visioned in the game. But as you can see, it might take me a minute to get started, but like I can be pretty rambunctious in the game. It just sometimes it takes a minute. All right, so that's what I'm working on. I'm working on the rambunctiousness without the needing to take some time part. But like I said, the way I play the game is the taking the time. So I need to fix that. Tomorrow, I don't know. I mean, how much more we can just keep rehashing Project 2025, right-wing extremism, and Biden. But we'll be talking about current events for sure. Maybe we'll switch it up with the Supreme Court and all that fun stuff. Tomorrow at 4. In fact, I wonder, I should probably... Oh, hold on. That's what I actually wanted. I wanted this. And I think we should... Why aren't you copying? I think we're going to put our schedule down here because who cares? Like, you're already on my stream. You probably don't care about my YouTube channel. And if you do care about my YouTube channel, you'll just click on my profile, right? So, we're going to switch it up with that. And then, anyway, so you can see the schedule. Monday through Friday. What? Anyway, I'll fix that. Anyway, we'll see you again tomorrow at around 4. And we'll keep picking up. We'll talk about we will talk about messaging. We will continue talking about the work that we need to do as leftists and citizens of this country anyway. And how to fight back against the corruption. So 2025 will probably be brought up. But in general, we'll focus on whatever flavor of the day current event. Probably get some policy in there and have ourselves a ye old good time. So on that note, I'll leave you two ladies to it. Take care.